Ooh, I'm live. Hello. Okay, really quick, I just gotta do this other thing with um yes. How do I do that? How do I click go live with Instagram? Ooh, yikes. How do I do this? I've never gone live on Instagram from StreamYard. Does anybody know? Create live video. Well, it's gonna have to be a no-no. That's fine. Hi, everybody. Okay. I don't know if I'm live on my Instagram, so we'll see. Okay, so I hope everybody's doing well today. Um, Last night I went live on my YouTube channel and I just started doing some human design readings that are like on celebrity charts just to have some fun with it. I've been personally doing, well, we'll just say researching human designs for a few years now. Back in 2018, that was when I took my first program that had human design, and I actually just did a self-study on my own chart for 4 years, and then I started doing readings for other people, and now I'm just, like, obsessed with it, and it's something that really lights me up. So, started doing them last summer. Oh god, it wasn't even last summer, it was the summer before that. Weird. 2 summers ago, I actually started to do human design readings for people, and it was some of the most fulfilling work that I've ever done. And so, I took a break from them. I don't even know why, if I'm being honest. Um, but now I'm getting back into them. So, I figured that in my spare time, because I have a lot of spare time these days, I'm gonna just go live with you guys and have some fun and read some charts. So let's see. I want to share something. So bear with me really quick. I'm going to da, 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 da. I wonder how I share this one. I am live. Nope, 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 nope. How do I share that I'm live? Oh, here we go. Share. There we go. Join me. Whoopsies. I'm just typing. I'm just like sharing something. Me live to have fun looking at celebrity human design charts. Okay, I'm starting with Timothy, my man Timothy Chalamet. Chalamet. Okay, there we go. Let's go. Okay, so I just shared that. Maybe some people will join in. I have no idea how long I'm going to be. Yesterday, I went live for 3 hours. I went live for 3 hours yesterday, which was, I mean, wow, that was the first time I ever, well, maybe I take that back. When I was doing online classes and stuff like that, I guess I did go in like the 2 hour range, but still, to do 3 hours of chart readings, that was kind of glorious, but also unexpected. I don't plan to go that long today, so don't worry. But I'm actually going to be starting with Timothee Chalamet. Yesterday, I did Johnny Depp, Keanu Reeves. Who was the third? There was a third person. Oh, and Britney Spears. That's who I did yesterday. So that was really fun. And today I figured I would start with Timothee Chalamet. And then depending on if anybody ends up joining live, if somebody has a request that I can like look into, or I'll just kind of like take it step by step. But I'm starting with Timothy. And then if anybody that is joining live wants to comment whose chart you want me to look at. So just a little like preface. So human design is essentially, it's very similar to astrology. I like to describe it as like astrology meets psychology and or science. So there's a lot of really great like personality slash like archetype aspects that are a little bit more tangible, in my humble opinion, than astrology. Now, I love astrology. I've always loved astrology since I can remember. But I don't find reading astrology charts nearly as fun or fulfilling. Human design, no joke, it's like a matrix. So every single person has like a genetic code. It's like we're all made up of just numbers. We're literally, I like to describe it as like we literally are living in a matrix, right? Well, no matter, you can dissect that however you want, or define that however you want. But it's kind of like we all have a very specific coding, okay, to make it, we're like a puzzle piece, and nobody else has the same coding as we do. So you can look at that and dissect that however you want. If you are, into the whole like we're all NPCs or whatever, feel free, run with that one. But I like to look at it as we're just like one puzzle piece to the universe. And in order for us to like, you know, have this world that we live in, we all have a place and we all have a purpose. So that's the gist of human design for anybody that doesn't really know. And so yeah, and I'm going to be sharing my screen. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm on silent mode. I'm going to be sharing my screen so you guys can also see the charts that I'm going to be pulling up, and I'm going to be sharing some other things too. So I have all of my like human design book resources in front of me. Oh no, where is my phone? What did I just do with my phone? Oh, it's right there. I have my phone, and then I was gonna get my iPad, but I forgot to get that. That's fine. I'll just use my phone. And I'm gonna be utilizing my phone. I have a couple like digital books on my Kindle that are human design books, as well as a couple human design apps. So the really fun thing about human design, for me anyway, is that when I'm reading somebody's charts, or chart, it's not plural, you only get one chart per person, but whenever I'm reading somebody's chart, I get like really excited to do this aspect of like investigating into that person, and then finding all of the fun, really just like aha moments and epiphany kind of information, and then sharing it with that person, and then seeing their reaction to, just kind of like being a mirror for them. So it is incredibly fun. Before I hopped on here, I did start looking into Timothy's chart, which I'm so glad I did, because I love Timothee Chalamet. I love him so much. I've always had a major crush on him ever since he was in Beautiful Boy with Steve Carell. But I realized that I don't really know too much about him as a person, versus like yesterday when I was doing some readings about like Johnny Depp and Keanu Reeves and Britney Spears. Like I can speak to all three of those people, because not only am I huge fans of them, but I have followed their career for so many years that I feel like I could make a lot of like connections and relatability out of it, which Timothy is not as like, I don't know his. I've only seen like a handful of his interviews, where the other three, like I've done some like digging with their interviews and their personalities and their life choices on the surface anyways, because we only see what's on the surface with celebrities. But anyway, so that was really interesting. And so for today, I'm so glad I did some prepping for Timothy's, which I'm so glad I did, because like I said, I didn't realize that I didn't know him as well as I assumed that I did. Okay, so let's see. Present. We're going to share my screen. Hello. Say hi in the chat. Feel free. Share screen. Okay, I'm going to share the window because I will be going between different things. So forgive me, I'm not gonna be able to see the chat for a little bit. Maybe I'll put it, well, anyways. Okay, so this is our man Timothee Chalamet. So just so you know, how did I get his chart? You might be wondering, like, what kind of psycho are you, Amber? No, I actually have a membership to Genetic Matrix. They have like an upgrade. You can go to geneticmatrix.com and get your own chart completely for free. But there's an upgraded version. It's only like $4 a month. It's nothing. But I can look up any famous person's chart that's within their system. I was actually like pleasantly surprised that he was in this. Because he's I guess he's not relatively new. He's been around for a while. So I guess I'm not that surprised. So anyway, that's how I got his chart. And that's how I get any other, famous person's chart, is through this website. So feel free, like I said, after we do Timothy, let me know who you want me to do next. And depending on if anybody is here with me live or ends up saying anything in the chat, depending on if anybody says anything, if not, I will choose the next person, which I have a feeling is going to be Ryan Gosling. Okay, let's go. So Timothee Chalamet, he is a generator. That is his type. So for those of you that aren't as familiar with human design, there's 5 types. That essentially is like your aura. It's your energy. It's how you move, and how you move in the world and how people react to your movement in the world. So he's a generator. And so generators have the most energy. They're just kind of like go, go, go. They're like Energizer bunnies, like literally like a generator. So, the interesting thing with generators is that the majority of the world tries to act like generators when, I think generators are 33% of the world. So literally whatever, so that's 67%. So 67% of the world is pretending to be an energy type that they're not. And the essentially what I mean by that is with generators, they have the most energy. They can go a lot longer without getting tired. You know, I guess manifesting generators are within that same, but still. And they also are here to um like take things and finish them out and get them done. Like they just get shit done. And so many of us try to act like generators. So anyway, let's get back to Timothy here. So he's a generator, makes total sense. I mean, if you it's so funny. I always see his what do they call it? Like the digital footprint, where there's all these videos of him from when he was in high school and he was doing some, I want to say he had like a YouTube channel or something like that. I don't know exactly the details of all of his things that he did before he got into bigger films and stuff like that. But they always talk about Timothy Chalamet's digital footprint is just like, so it's solid. Like you can find so much of the like his past before he got really big because he was doing so much. So it makes complete sense. Like I don't know if you guys saw I don't know if you guys saw the video where he's like dancing. It was like I don't know if it was like a talent show or what, but he's like on a stage and he's dancing. And there's a few videos that I've seen of that. And I don't know if it's the same day, like the same performance or what. But basically, you can look into this. It's actually there's evidence of the fact that like he really is tuning into that energy of he's always on, and he's just I've watched a lot of his interviews, and I don't think I've ever really felt like there's maybe been like one interview that I've watched of his where he was like tired. I don't know. He doesn't he seems just he's always got energy. He's always in good spirits. And he just gets shit done. Like that's him. He's a 3-5 profile. Um Incarnation cross, right angle cross of service 4, which we'll go into that in a second. Just so you know, I'm going to share with you right now the parts of the chart that I read mainly. This is because just so you know, I mean, gosh, human design is so complex. There's so much depth to hold on, did I write that? Sorry, my ADD is like catching up with me. What was I saying? Oh, so the different parts of the chart. So there's so many aspects to our charts, so many. And if you ever get a reading, your human design, technically, like, yeah, of course, get a reading. But I've had, I think, about 3 or 4 readings, and every single person reads different aspects of my chart. And most human design experts will have one focus because it's virtually fucking impossible. Freaking impossible. To like really hone in, to like give a full chart reading. And another thing too is there's been times where I've read a lot of areas of someone's chart and they get so overwhelmed and it's like only like 10 aspects rather than just like 5 or something. So when I do readings for other people, the areas of the chart that I personally focus on is your energy type, your sun gate, your incarnation cross, which I'll show you that in a second. I do go a little bit into the profile. That's actually an area that I personally have yet to like really dig deep into as far as like learning all the other profiles that I don't know as well. But sometimes I like talk a little bit about it because it is a big part of your personality. I just read something yesterday that it gave a really great example, which is like your profile is your armor. It's like your clothes. It's a part of you, and it people kind of identify you with your armor, your clothes, or your style, so to speak. It's outward. It's very much how people really perceive you. Anyway, so and then I talk about the channels. So the parts of the chart that I hyper focus on when I'm doing readings, like I said, so your energy type, also your inner authority. So your energy type, your inner authority, your sun gate, incarnation cross, and then your channel. So 5 aspects. With every once in a while, I will kind of get into the profile as well as your manifestation type. So it's kind of like 5 focuses with 2 bonuses, you know? So anyway, let's get into, let me just double check if I have any, no comments just yet. That's fine. That is fine. Okay, so let's see. So he's a pure generator. Pure generator. That right there just says like he's got a lot of energy, which is great. That's great. You can tell. You can tell. I don't know if you guys like can really read people. This is why human design to me is just so fascinating. I can read people really well. You on an intuitive level, yes, of course, but also on like a human behavior level. And he has so much energy. You can tell. You can tell he has a lot of energy. And it's not an overpowering energy either. You know what I mean? He has like a there's something very calming about him. The interesting thing, I'm putting these two together right now. The interesting thing about generators, I get along really well with generators. And I found that I'm assuming my assumption or my, I guess, analysis on it with experiencing this, is that manifestors are the complete opposite of generators. Therefore, it creates like a yin yang thing. So I actually feel really balanced when I'm around generators. I love generators so much. So that makes sense that I have like a really strong pull to Timothy, because I feel when I watch him and the movies that he's in or any interviews that he's in, I always feel this sense of like connection. And I don't mean that in a romantic way, although I would love me some Timothy, but I mean that in a completely just, like, like surface level way. But I feel like that towards most generators. So one of my favorite friends is a generator. Okay, so all right, so he's a generator. I'm going to talk about his sun sign. It's like a sun sign, sun gate, which is gate number 58, which is right here. So to find your sun sign, what you do is you go to your chart. I'm sure a lot of you that maybe aren't as familiar with human design, you might be like, what on earth am I looking at? Because that's everybody feels that way when they first look at charts when they don't read them on the daily like I do. And basically what we're looking at here is you got all of the centers. So think about like the chakras. You got the 7 chakras. In human design, you have 9. You have 9 centers. And so that's that. And then you have all of these. Okay, let me just back up. Within each center, you have these different numbers. Those are all gates. And as you can see, some of the gates are circled in red and some of them have no circle at all. That essentially just means that those gates are highlighted. There's 64 gates in human design, 64 personality traits, if you will, or like 64, I wouldn't call them archetypes because the profiles are more archetypes, but it's kind of just like personality traits. And so we all have essentially all 64, but we all have different variations of which ones are heightened. Okay, so So that's that. Then you've got these numbers on the left and the right side. Those are the planetary positions, very similar to astrology, where your chart kind of lines up with the gate. Okay, so his right here, this is the sun gate, this is the earth gate, this is, ooh, which one's that one? Oh yeah, that's the north node and the south node. And this is your moon, this is your Mars. Is that Mars? I think that's Mars. I don't remember which one that is. Anyway, it looks like Greek, right? So anyways, each section has a significant meaning, but like I said, I just focus on areas that I find, one, the most intriguing, but two, really help us understand who we are, what we're here to do, and how to like allow that to come to fruition and pursue it in the way that makes us feel good. So many of us are moving forward in the world with tactics that are not designed for us. We are moving forward with what somebody else is telling us that has nothing to do with how we work on like an internal scale, you know? So it's fun to do human design chart sharings so that people can see, like, you know, when we see really famous people, we can relate that to, oh wow, yeah, that does make sense. And so when you read your own chart, it, you know, it's a whole thing. So anyways, going back to these little numbers, there's gates that are in each, you know, each planet, just like in astrology. And your sun gate essentially represents like 80% of your personality. And when we tune into our sun gate on our conscious side, this is the conscious side, this is the subconscious, unconscious side. This is what, when we kind of tune into or like lean into this particular gate, that is when we become the most magnetic. Okay, so that's why, so doing my mom just texted me. Hi mom, let me just text my mom. Okay, so anyway, uh so that sun gate is like 80%, and it really magnifies our energy and our aura when we lean into it. um so does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And then it's why that's my favorite part of the chart, because first and foremost, if you can understand your energy type, that is a big thing. So many people have massive like epiphanies when I just share with them their energy type and their authority. You tie in their sun gate and you have like a really, really good indication of like how that person can really amplify their energy, move forward with taking action, and understand how to interact with other people and, you know, understand their own energy, right? So those three elements by themselves are super, super helpful. And then when you read into your channels are like your superpowers. Your channels are your genius zones. So when you tune into like the theme of these channels, that's when like people are going to listen to your every word. It's kind of like no matter what you say, as if it's within the themes of this, like it just, I don't know, there's no denying it. You know what I'm saying? Or just like you in general, like when people see you, they immediately think of things that have to do with your channels. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. But your channels are really, I find them to be really, really fascinating. And then last, I go over the incarnation cross. So your incarnation cross is essentially the theme of your life's purpose. So connecting all of those elements together truly just can open a lot of things up. Obviously, there's a lot more to charts than that. You can get into shadow work, you can get into all the other planets, that, you know, what your gates are and the different planets and what they represent. But this is, in my opinion, some of the most profound aspects of the charts. So Timothy has his sun gate in gate 58. So let's see, gate 58. I have his I have his chart already up. So gates, let's see. So gate 58 is the gate of aliveness. Let's see. Your cup of cheerfulness is filled to the brim, and the more people you are willing to share it with, the faster it fills up again. You have an insatiable appetite for everything: food, events, and experiences. You enjoy it all. You love to run in the rain as much as you love to sunbathe in the sun. Your incredible delight can sometimes be dangerous. You are just capable of knocking someone down. For example, yourself. Therefore, the main thing that you should learn is to continue to enjoy life. Your love of life can make you dangle through life like a float in an ice hole, and your task is to bounce only on those ways that bring joy. So, this is actually a theme in his chart. So it's really interesting when you look at the sun gate of anybody's charts. It almost always checks out that it goes hand in hand with the profile and the channels. It's like and then definitely 100% into the incarnation cross, because the sun gate is a part of the incarnation cross. So it's really interesting. So what I was reading before I came on here to like do this live reading, I was just researching a little bit of his chart just so I could like, have a little bit of ground to stand on. And a lot of his like the parts of his chart all indicate that his design, like he is here to be kind of not the life of the party, but kind of like he thrives off of feeling alive. He thrives off of being happy, and also not only just being happy, but really bringing other people's into that with him. Like you can tell in the interviews that he recently did for Dune 2. He's just like I think that he knows. I think that he knows that he's, a big deal, but you would never be able to tell. I say that because I can only assume. I can only assume with that somebody is that famous, they have to think like, oh yeah, I am kind of a big deal, but not. I don't think he does it in an arrogant way. I think he strived to get to where he is, and you have to think like that in order to like have the momentum to get to where he is. But he is the type of person that he just enjoys life. He thoroughly enjoys life. I don't He does not strike me as somebody that is has ill intention at all. I think he has a good head on his shoulders, and every interview I've ever seen with him, he is always like making the interview interactive on all counts. You can tell that he doesn't always want to be like, stealing the show. Um, like there's actually somebody, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to ruffle any feathers, because it's actually somebody I really really like, but there were some interviews where someone very much steals the show almost every time. Almost every clip that they're in, when there's multiple people in an interview with them, they always are stealing the show. And I can tell that that person is like, I want the attention. And I can only imagine, they're probably nice, but I can only imagine that that person is just the type that really really thrives on being the center of the attention. That's not Timothy at all. Timothy is very much like he wants everybody to experience happiness with him. Like it fulfills him to be happy himself and just be okay with loving life. Because there's a lot of people that don't necessarily agree with that. Some people are like, yeah, life sucks. He's not one of those people at all. He can totally find like the like the rainbow and everything, the rainbow through every storm, whatever you want to call it. And but he wants people to be there with him. That's what I get from him, from me just like watching him in interviews, and also piecing together these little elements of his chart. So gate 58 is very much that. It's very much thriving off of just being alive. Like he just thrives. So that's his sun gate. Let's see the next part. So like I said, so he's a generator. I forgot to share with. Okay, so his authority is sacral. Authority, it's like me sharing with you guys somebody's authority. Like that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because it's his decision making. So it's like, I don't know. I would have to talk to him on a personal level and be like, yo, so when you're, trying to decide if you want this role or that role, do you use your gut? Like, I can't speak to that, but his inner authority is sacral. Moving on to, okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of his profile. I wish that I could highlight this so you guys could see. So this right here, the profile is 3-5, which is the martyr / heretic. And I got this right here. So the 3-5, and to be honest, I've done a lot of readings, and it's very, I haven't really read too many 3-5s. The Great Life Experimenter is the theme of this profile. 3 is the experimenter. Your inside self is an adventurer, an experimenter. You like to experience many things, see what works and what doesn't, and get the wisdom from the outcome. So these are the type of people that like to see something and then do it, or have something and test it. Like they have to, like, they're physical learners. So that the 3s are typically very, like, how do I explain it? It's kind of like they're any 3s, and like anybody that has a 3 in their profile, they have always been the type of person that they need to they need to experience something themselves. They need to physically feel. So for example, it's like the 3-5, anybody that has a 3 in their profile as a child, the parents is like, yeah, don't touch that power socket. And they're like, and then they figure it out. They have to figure it out themselves. They're very tangible, hands-on learners. The experimenter. That's what they're nicknamed. You're to jump into life with both feet because you have to taste life and live it to the full. So they're very adventurous. 3s are very adventurous, which makes a lot of sense for Timothy. What doesn't work out is just another stepping stone on the way to success. The quicker you embrace that, some things won't work out, the faster you will get to succeeding. To be honest, I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The 5 is the liberator. You have a save the day energy. Like I said, Timothy just has this, like, this aura about him that, like, oh my gosh, have you guys seen the compilation where he's like, uh, it's like a bunch of little clips of him just being like one of the best gentlemen ever. And he's like holding, the girls' hands while they're going down the stairs, or I forget who it was, if it was Zendaya or somebody, but they were like adjusting their top of their dress, and he like went right in front of her to like block her from anybody seeing the adjustment. So those little gestures to me completely indicate, because those are very, like, they're actually very small gestures, but they have really big impact. I can only imagine like how cordial and kind and just helpful he is. Like, you can tell he just genuinely wants to help people. When he's never ever had an interview that I've seen anyway, where he looks like he's talking down to the interviewer. Because I've seen that a lot. And, like I said, he's not super new by any means, but he's not, Johnny Depp, who, I feel like actors and actresses that have been in the game for as long as they have tend to have come by some really ignorant interviewers. And I feel like some of the interviews that I've seen where he has experienced that, he has a very, like, just an immense amount of grace when it comes to how he reciprocates the rudeness. You know what I'm saying? And he's always respectful. Let's see. You have the energy, save the day energy. You love to help people, whether it's strangers or loved ones. You value all people equally because of this, and because you're naturally likable. All 5s are very likable profiles. I just lost my spot. People subconsciously sense that you can help them, guide them, or lead them. Sometimes they might put that expectation on you, whether they know that they're doing it or not. Your work as a liberator is to discern which situations are yours, and blah, blah, blah. So that's like advice, like personal advice. Okay. So when these two numbers come together, the 3-5, so he is a 3-5 profile. You're constantly dancing with life, and here to lift everyone up with the findings of that dance. All the experimenting and experience makes 3-5s the subject matter experts on life and the ups and the downs, the goods and the bads, and the messiness of it all. Yeah. Yeah, so that, I mean, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense for his, like I said, it goes hand in hand with his son Gate. Um, okay, so let's move on to his channels. So he has a lot of channels. Um, Typically, I would say most people have like 2 or 3 channels. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that 6? 2, 4, yeah. He's got 6 channels. He's got 6 channels. So channels, like I said earlier, channels are like our genius zones. They are our superpowers. Um, and a lot of the times the channels tend to be more subconscious or like unconscious. Um, so when I learned about my channels, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I do that, or yeah, I am that way, or oh yeah, like that makes sense. It typically, from my experience of channels, uh, it tends to kind of remind us that like we have superpowers. It's kind of like when we try to figure out who we are, what we want to do in this life, or what our purpose is, we miss, like, we overlook ourselves. Like, we need somebody else to tell us, you know what I'm saying? So the interesting thing and the fun thing about human design is like your chart literally tells you. But it's like I said, it's things that we already know. Like, so it's very fascinating. It's really, really interesting. So channels. This is why I like doing charts like this, that on people that a lot of people know, because you can make the connection and you can see the evidence of it, right? So channels 1034, which is the channel of exploration. Channel, yeah, 1034. Um, mm, 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 let's see. I've got my book. For you, happiness lies in doing something you love, regardless of anyone. There is a supremely selfish aspect because you must get your way. You shouldn't feel guilty about it though, because this is being true to your nature. Besides, others may quietly admire you for being a true person of conviction. So like this is really interesting. Because I'll say this. There's been a lot of videos. I would not be surprised if Ryan Gosling has similar aspects in his chart. Because when I see Timothee Chalamet, when I see like these videos of when he was younger and him performing, and he's just always been a performer, um, you can tell that, like, first and foremost, he has like a zest for life. He just loves life, and he's very charismatic, and um he just has a lot of energy, that generator energy. But also there's not like an essence of arrogance, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, in order to reach the success that he has reached, you do have to have an element of selfishness. You have to because you have to want something so bad that nothing is going to stop you from getting it. You know what I'm saying? So that makes complete sense. But just like this excerpt said, it's not out of arrogance, and nobody really like receives it as that unless he's in his shadow. But he's not in his shadow. That's one of the reasons why I picked Timothy, because I knew he has such a beautiful aura about him that like I knew it would be there, genuine. He's a genuine person, and I can tell pretty quick when somebody is very, very genuine. And he's one of them. Justin Timberlake, not genuine. That's like just an example for you. But Timothy Chalamet, I can read him like a book, you know what I'm saying? So that makes perfect sense. As long as, somebody that has a channel of like 1034, as long as they're doing what they love, then they're going to make it. And once again, luckily, him being a generator with this natural love of life, the gate 58, which is the gate of, what was it? Not adventure. I forget what it's called. Let me just get the little chart out for a second. It starts with an A. I remember that. Aliveness. That actually, he was like kind of set up for success. Like his chart is just like a direct setup for like major success. There's other elements, which is the next one I'm going to go into, which is the channel 1057 perfected form. I have this one as well, so I can speak to it on a personal level. Perfected form, this particular channel, is a lot of people tend to see us as always lucky. Nothing bad ever happens to us. I don't know Timothy on a personal level to like be like, oh yeah, I think he's just lucky. To like see his evolution from like when he was not famous at all. But basically, this is I could only imagine that there's probably some really funny stories like on set of him, you know, coming close to getting hurt or something like that, and he doesn't. That is the channel of the perfected form. It's interesting because when I looked at this channel in my own chart, once again, it's something that like it's a little bit more unconscious. I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't like, oh yeah, like I'm really lucky or I am perfect. But other people 100%, because I talked about this with other people that know me well, or at least, you know, have seen how they've like experienced my energy, you know, on a personal level. And a lot of people have told me like, yeah, I've always thought that like you were lucky, and you've always kind of had just like crazy experiences that like nobody else would either get away with, or like I've never broken a bone or anything like that. I've just things like that. So that's the perfected form. And I'm pretty sure I have my sisters. This is what's really cool about human design, is that it's like goes into genetics, because it's all based off of like DNA channels. Yes. So my sister Allie has perfect form channel. Oh, let's see my other sisters. Amy. Let's see if I'm almost positive Amy has, because like she's like my sister Amy is the perfect example of that channel. Come on. Oh, about me. That's what. Yep, she has the perfect form one, and then let's see, Ange. Okay, so Angie actually does not have the perfect form, but you want to know a really funny story? Angie has been the one that has gotten in the most like car accidents, and she's had like some really weird things happen in her life. They're like, wait a second, what? So that is like a really perfect example to show you guys, like with channels, these are things that just are, they're like themes in our life that a lot of people witness and they're like, oh yeah, but it takes us like looking into this or like seeing that this is a thing that like I never thought of it that way until I read my chart and was like, what's perfected form? And then I shared it with people that I was close with, and like, yeah, yep, pretty much. Okay. So yeah, and the other thing too with perfected form, there is something very like there a lot of people that have like this aura of, I'm not going to say perfection. It's not perfection because I'm not trying to say I'm perfect. I'm not saying that. But perfected form, there's just like an essence about them. So like how do I say it? A sense of trust, I guess you could say. There's like a sense of trust. So when I saw that he had this channel, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. The next channel that he has is 1858, which is the channel of judgment. Okay, let's see here. Channel of judgment. And I don't think that sounds, I don't think it's as bad as it sounds. It's not as bad as it sounds. Sorry. I'm trying to work on my diction. You know, I tend to mumble. So I apologize if I ever say anything and nobody's like can understand what I'm saying. Okay, so the gate 1858, channel of judgment. Armed with a perfectionist streak, you scrutinize society, which he doesn't. I don't think he does. Looking for ways to improve everything for the benefit of everyone. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, so yeah. You sit in impartial judgment, pointing out what is and what isn't working. It is a continual assessment with the goal of enhancing the social working and living environments around you. Let's see. Okay, so your ability to point out where things can be improved is a great asset within companies or communities. You are the consummate consultant, troubleshooter, overseeing authority, and art or restaurant critic, but you can also be your own worst enemy. So I would say that, yeah. So judgment, yes, he's just, yeah, I would say he's just critical. But like I said, he does not strike me as like a highly judgmental person. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you can be needlessly hard on yourself. Um, Instead, just realize that you have the gift of correcting and improving society's failings with your spontaneous recommendations, appraisals, and rulings. Fall back on your authority. Oh yeah, yeah, whatever. So yeah, that's an interesting one because that honestly, I don't get this. I don't sense that from him. But um, let's see. Let's see what this app says with that one. It's pretty similar to the book that I have, so I just want to see if there's any different information because that, like I said, I don't. He doesn't strike me as. You start a process just for the sake of process. At the same time, there's nothing wrong with your intentions. However, especially in personal life, this can lead to some misunderstandings. If you don't learn to control your channel, it will lead to constant conflicts with those around you. You will be mistaken for a critic and treated like an unpleasant person. Um, Try to feel the difference between the public and the personal and limit your criticism to only the first. Your ability to accurately determine where, what, and how to improve is very useful in work and social life. So, to be honest, with his personality and his aspects of his chart, I feel like this particular channel is more so representative of I think that he's probably a really good listener, and when people are sharing, like venting to him because something I forget, was it the exploration or his 3-5, it was his 3-5 profile. People just go to him and just kind of want his help, whether he opens that door or not. And so I can guarantee you that he's probably just the type of energy where the moment he does actually open the door to converse, people just kind of like dump everything on him. Because I think that he really is a good, like, he has good balance in his life. You can just tell he has really good balance. But also people probably like just ask him for advice all the time because he does have a good judgment of situations. So he's probably somebody that can, um, say he's on set or something like that, he can see issues and then make judgments about the, or like, give his 2 cents about like, hey, by the way, I think you should change this. And that can look like he's criticizing somebody's plan or somebody's, management for, the set or whatever. But he actually has a good eye for it. He's very connected with being able to pick up that information and know what to do to make things better. He doesn't strike me as somebody that is judgmental, you know what I'm saying? In a mean way or uh, you know, a malice way. Like he's very, he does it with like with in conjunction with the other highlights of his chart, which is in a very charismatic, very helpful place. That's how I would determine that. Um, he also has the channel of power, and I just read this channel yesterday when I was doing a live, when I was reading Britney Spears's her chart, and she has the channel of power. The people that have this channel, you can always tell they demand your attention, they demand the room without even trying. And it makes complete sense to me because I mean, Britney Spears, come on, like she's a powerhouse. Like she's just she's a very powerful person. And Timothy, like, I forget who I was talking to, but it's like Timothy, he's kind of like on top of the world right now. And so he's right now the perfect example of somebody that is full blown living his human design. Like, I have this theory because when I was reading Johnny Depp's Keanu Reeves, and Britney Spears was a little bit hard just because of, like, there's a lot of stuff going on with her right now that's very mysterious, we'll just say. So it was a little hard to read hers for that reason alone. But with Johnny Depp and Keanu Reeves, their charts, it was almost like I could literally it was almost like a script for their success. And that's kind of what human design is. When you start to really like embody your design and really like lean into it and stop listening to everybody else and what their advice is for you to do something that they suggest because it worked for them, like, that's not how this world works. It is so freaking backwards. But I can guarantee you, I said this yesterday, that Johnny Depp and Keanu Reeves probably have had their chart read, because they are living, or at least their careers, you can see that they have leaned into their human design throughout their careers, whether it was astrology or human design. Either way, astrology is similar enough to human design that I could see maybe that. Like, I think Reagan, I know his wife, President Reagan's wife, was really into astrology. I don't know if Reagan was, and I'm pretty sure that the Kennedys were also into astrology, getting advice for different astrological uh, what are the positions for different days for them to do certain things and campaigns and things like that. So anyway, it's very common. It is very common for actors and musicians and just people that are wanting to, walk the path of fame, that they tend to, it's very common for them to get things like astrological charts, seeing psychics, or getting a human design chart read. And when they really lean into it, it speaks for itself. So anyway, going back to my point here, is that he 100% is a very powerful person without even trying. Like, literally, I don't know if I feel like how do I explain this without sounding incredibly just like rude? So Timothee Chalamet is 100% my type. I'm going to start by saying that he is 100% my type. He's artsy. He is not super buff or anything like that. He's got the dark hair. He's got light eyes. If he had tattoos, oh my God, I would fall over and just be done for. He's my type, like, through and through. I've always been attracted to people like him. And the interesting thing is that the number of times that I've like shown or pointed people out that I've been attracted to that have that similar body type and aesthetic, right? Everybody's like, "Oh my God, they're so scrawny. Why do you like scrawny boys?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I do." And out of freaking nowhere, everybody's like, "Timothy Chalamet." Like, people that would not, people that are like obsessed with like The Rock, like that, physical stature, are all of a sudden just like obsessed with Timothée Chalamet. And here's my 2 cents on that. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense because Timothy, his chart literally has the power channel first and foremost, but he also has perfected form as a channel as well, which people are responding to that energetically. But the power channel, it's, you can't help but be attracted to him. You can't help but, when he's talking, you are like completely like there. Luckily, at this point in time, he's not using anything against that, which is good. I think Trump has that channel. I know Trump has the money channel, which makes perfect sense. Once again, another person that is just like living out their chart. But yeah, so that's the power channel. Like, they just demand a room without even trying. Okay, and he's not arrogant either, so that makes him that much more attractive. You know what I mean? Like, I am willing to bet that Ryan Gosling either has the channel of power or the alpha channel. they're very similar. The alpha channel, if you have the alpha channel, just so you know, the alpha channel is very similar to the power channel. The alpha channel is more so about more it's just you demand a room, people just like don't know what to do around you, because it's almost like a little bit more on the attraction scale. It's a little bit more on the lusting scale, the alpha channel, whereas like the power channel is like, first and foremost, yes, power over just like, and not in a manipulative way, but like everybody just stops what they're doing for you, whether they're attracted to you or not. You know what I'm saying? The alpha channel, you just are attracted to that person. You don't even know why. I actually had a boss. She had the alpha channel. Did I say alpha? I meant alpha. So my boss had an alpha channel, and she's not, she wasn't the most attractive person, but there was still something that was like, wow, she is beautiful, like she's stunning. Does that make sense? Like, I know that sounds really shallow to say, but like there's this essence about her. My sister, does Amy have it? Let me see what Amy has, because I know Amy has something that is of that. Let's see, Amy, where are you? She's a 5'1". Oh no, so she has perfect form channel. I thought that she had the alpha channel. Never mind. Okay, anyways. All right, so those are the alpha and power channel kind of distinctions. Okay. All right, so next channel that he has so many channels, which just makes so much sense. 360, the gate of mutation. So the gate of mutation, I was reading this beforehand, is basically like, he's kind of like a chameleon, which first and foremost would make him really, really great for being a really great actor, being able to convey different types of characters, very much like, so like, for example, he did the Dune movies, which was a very specific character that he was portraying. And then he did Beautiful Boy, and he did phenomenal in that movie. He did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So he's very, I mean, my gosh, did you see what he did on SNL? Like, the really interesting thing is that I've always been a fan of Timothy, and I've always been like really attracted to him. However, I didn't really know the personal side to him until more recently, when I started seeing more of his interviews and things like that. And then I saw the SNL skit, and it's funny because, I don't know if you guys have seen the one where he's like in the puffer jacket, like the white, he looks like a big marshmallow with the pink hair, and he's like rapping. I like hysterically laugh whenever I see any of those videos, because I don't know, there's just something about him that is really freaking funny. And I never thought that he was like, I never knew he was a funny guy. So that is a perfect example of like this gift of mutation, this channel, this super powered mutation. He can be somebody that's really, really funny. He can be somebody that's a struggling drug addict. He can be somebody that is like a crazy, candy store owner. Did he do something? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, so that makes perfect sense. Let's see. It does say partners who travel with you in life must be adaptable and prepare for an erratic but rewarding experience. Expecting unexpected. So something about the channel, the people that have channel, the mutation channel, because they mutate, they basically are able to mutate or be chameleons, or they like to have experiences of a lot of different things. I mean, fully experience those. It can look like they're all over the place, but it's just because they have, like I said, he just has this whole life theme of having a zest for life and wanting to experience it all in all different ways, in all different moods, all different emotions, all different locations. Like he's very much there. And then last but not least, the gift of concentration, which is the 952 gate. Let's see. So it says you arrive at the starting point of any project armed with a determination to make things work, even in relationships. Hey, Timothy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not on the market, so don't. Sorry. You can have incredibly fulfilling relationships, but only when you know everything is perfect, ready, and in place. You find it hard to commit until every flaw has been ironed out and every imperfection tackled. So that would my interpretation of that is just hyper concentrating on something, hyper focusing on things. So he could very well struggle with maybe a little bit of OCD or something like that. I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't know him on that level. So that is just speculation. I am not saying that he has OCD. It's just speculation. Um, but uh it basically says in this particular channel that he has a gift of being able to hyper focus, concentrate, which can get him in trouble. So he can concentrate. So when he is in a role, he's in it, he's concentrated, he is dedicated, he is committed. When he's in a relationship, he has like ironed everything out before he steps into that relationship. Therefore, he makes it a priority, he makes it a focus, he makes it a commitment. When he's in a relationship, he is committed because the concentration is there, the commitment, the dedication is there. So that's that. And that makes sense. I mean, is he still with what's her face? Kylie? Is it Kylie? Is it Kylie? No offense, Kylie. Not a fan. But let's see. I don't even care. It's fine. If he's with her, that's fine. Great. As long as he's happy. I just hope to the Lords above that I don't know. There's just some really bad juju with all of the men that have dated any of their Kardashians or Jenners. So I mean, it's our Timothy, like don't hurt him. Don't hurt him, okay? That's all I ask. Let me just double check something. Instagram is okay, that's fine. Remove, that's fine. Yep. Okay. Save changes. Am I still okay? Cool. I'm still live. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so moving on to yeah, so his incarnation cross. So we already went over his sun gate, we already went over his channels. Let's go ahead and dive into his incarnation cross. So when we look at our incarnation cross, we are looking at these four numbers. Top two on the right, top two on the left. That is your incarnation cross. Our incarnation cross is essentially the mathematical equation, quote unquote, of a theme. There's 192 incarnation crosses, and it's your theme. It is the theme of your life's work. It's the theme of your life's purpose. So when you can understand this theme and integrate all the other aspects that I've kind of just shared, you can really unfold that life purpose and the fulfillment behind it. So incarnation cross, right angle cross of service 4. So I seriously have so many of these things. All right, so let's look at that. Will it show his? Hold on. It's so funny because like I just put like Timothy with like a heart on it because I love him. All right, let's see where. Oh, and really, like, just a side note, his manifestation process is non-specific. I don't know him on the level, you know what I mean? But that's his manifestation type. I'm also non-specific as well. So, right angle cross of service 4. Every human, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this is what it says for his incarnation cross. Love and beauty are the core of who you are, and therefore, love and beauty. Oh, that's really cute. That's really cute. And therefore also what you're here to bring into the lives of other people. That's what I'm saying. Whenever I watch anything with him, there's just something that like it just ignited in me, and not in like, oh my gosh, I want him. I do, but not in that, like, it's not even in that way. It's like there's something that like makes me feel better when I'm watching him in his element, when it's him. So interviews, whenever he's doing interviews, he's so much fun to watch. Or like when he did the SNL stuff, or when he was, all the videos of what he was doing before he got really big, seeing his true personality, it is, you can't look away. Like there's just something so inspiring about it, and almost maybe not empowering. I don't think empowering is the word. It's more so like inspiring, just inspiring. Your success will depend on how much of that. Wait, so hold on. It's very easy for you to see things that can be improved. So once again, that's another theme. He's able to see things like improvements. Okay, criticisms, but improvements. And you're here to help people improve. What did I say? Like people probably always ask him for advice. Like I can guarantee you, Zendaya was like, "Yo, Tom is getting on my nerves. What do I do?" You know, your success will, whether it's themselves or the way they do things, your success will depend on how much of that improvement is centered around bringing more of that love and beauty into other people's lives. Don't judge those things as being unimportant. They are what everyone wants, and you have it. Ooh, interesting. That's interesting. Mine it in yourself as much as you can, because that's when the amount you can give to other people will overflow too. Um, your success will depend on how much of that improvement is centered around. So what this essentially means, my take on this incarnation cross, is that he is here to lift people up. He is here to love life and bring other people into that like energy with him of loving life. Like he wants to remind you to love life. Like he wants to be a reminder for you to love life. Um whether he's conscious of that or not, I don't know. But him being this person that can hold space for people in a really beautiful way and give feedback, right? Give feedback, give criticism, give improvement, whatever. It's kind of like people really hear him out because it comes from a very good place. And when he can share that side of him helping others, that is when, you know, that's when his success is kind of going to skyrocket, which, like I said, there's a lot of content out there about him that showcases him being this just like highly chivalrous person, aka he's respectful and helpful. um so the more he leans into that, the more he's going to just continue to grow and grow, and his essence is just going to keep becoming magnetic. So that's that. Is there any other aspects that I wanted to go over? I don't think so. I think that was it. Okay. Just wanted to double check. Sorry, I don't mean to like show you guys the like back end of that. I know it can be kind of hard on the eyes. Okay, let's look at Ryan Gosling. So I'm going to say this right now. My gut is telling me, my intuition will say, is telling me that Ryan Gosling has either or both the alpha channel or the power channel. That's my guess. I feel like it. I feel pretty sure about this. And he's probably got a lot going on with like charisma, very similar to Timothee Chalamet. I will say, I love Ryan Gosling, so don't get it twisted with what I'm about to say. Ryan Gosling, I'm obsessed with. I am so in love with. Ever since The Notebook, I've like just been obsessed. But there is a little bit of an undertone of arrogance with Ryan Gosling, a little bit. He knows that he's a charmer, and he utilizes that completely. Where Timothy is just way more. I don't know how to say it. It's only like the way that I think of it with Ryan is like you can see when he is in interviews, when Ryan Gosling is in interviews, you can see him, he knows how to put on the charm, and you can see in his body language of how he's almost calculating it out. And I know that sounds really weird. I have no idea if anybody else has picked up on that, but he very much is like he's studying the person that he's being interviewed by and figuring out what what is going to charm them. And I have no idea. I'm not trying to say that I think he has ill intentions. But I mean, I really do think that Ryan Gosling is a lot more of a calculated, charismatic person than Timothy. I feel Timothy is a truly, at least at this point in his life, he's a truly genuine person. Ryan Gosling has always had this like massive flirt aspect to him and high charisma. And if you look at the way that Timothy, his body language is when he's interviewed versus Ryan Gosling, there is very much a difference. And Timothy just has a more, it's like a sense of ease with his charisma and his zest for life. Whereas like Ryan Gosling knows, like he knows that he's good looking. He knows that he walks in a room and people basically pee their pants. I don't know that Timothée Chalamet is quite to the point of like, oh my god, like holy shit, Timothy is in the room. But Ryan Gosling 100%. Oh, look how cute he looks there. Oh my god. Oh, he's a projector. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay, you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Come on. Hello? Why isn't that working? Hello? Oh my gosh, come on. All right, let's do this. Oh, yeah. Sorry. What is happening? What is happening? Continue. Sorry guys, I don't know what's happening with my computer. It's not working. There we go. My lord. Okay. So Ryan Gosling, he is a projector. So this is the first time that I'm doing the celebrity readings, just to, like look at their charts. And this is the first projector that I've had during a live. So Ryan Gosling is a projector. A projector, the energy of a projector is very interesting because they have a very open energy. A lot of people that have projector types tend to be the type that get energetically drained a lot easier. They are here to be invited to do things when they are living out their energy and moving forward with least resistance is when they're invited to do something. A lot of the times projectors tend to be really hard on themselves because they just don't have the energy to do a lot of things. They tend to be big on napping, which is what they should be doing. They're definitely nappers. They have the energy of needing to be horizontal, to like rest, to recharge, because the reason why I'll show you, this sacral center right here is open. And so non-sacral beings, we tend to, it's like, okay, so let me just explain this really quick. As you see, the chart, he has a lot of defined charts for being a projector. This is actually very rare. Usually projectors tend to have a lot more open centers. That's a kind of a blanket statement, so take it with a grain of salt. But every center that you see, as you can see, some of them are colored in and some of them are not. When we don't have a filled in center, that means just think of it as like a cup. It's like our cup is empty. When we have a defined center, our cup is full. So the emotions or the themes, I guess you could say, of each center, it's like when it's defined, when it's full, that's all your own energy. So for example, this is the sacral center in human design. So projectors, manifestors, and reflectors are all open centers in the sacral, meaning we do not have our own energy. We thrive off of other people's energies. So we tend to be that person that we meet in somebody's energy where they're at. So we tend to, like, it's almost like we mirror people. It's because we're borrowing their energy. So for example, with Ryan Gosling, it makes a lot of sense because if you look at Ryan Gosling with his interviews, he usually meets the energy of whoever is interviewing him pretty well. He's gotten older now though, and I think he's just gotten a lot like more irritable, I guess you could say. I don't think he likes doing interviews as much anymore. Usually when actors get to that point, like A-list actors, like Johnny Depp doesn't really do interviews anymore. Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't even know the last time he did an interview. What is his name? not Robert Downey Jr. Ooh, oh gosh. He's an older actor. De Niro, Robert De Niro. He does not do interviews. A lot of A-list actors tend to get to a point where they're like, I'm not doing interviews anymore. And I feel like Ryan Gosling's kind of at that point now. But that's besides the point. Let's just get to it. So he is a projector. It makes sense. That does make sense to me, energetically speaking. But he's a splenic projector. Like I said, the inner authority I'm not going to get into because that's more of a personal explanation. Okay. So his channels are 1333, the prodigal, and 2343 structuring, and then 3254 transformation. So he's not a interesting. So he is not an alpha channel or a power channel, which I find that so surprising. So surprising. He is a 2-4. Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. So he's a 2-4 profile. That's where right here. So the 2 is the hermit, the 4 is the opportunist. 2 yeah, so the hermit tends a lot of times hermits tend to be on the more shy side, which ironically enough, like he's not shy, but when you look at him, I don't know what it is. Like you would assume he's probably shy. Do you know what I'm saying? When you look at somebody, you just assume like their personality traits just by looking at them because of like a feeling that you get. He's 100% one of those people that are like, ah, he's probably shy, even though he is not. Like he is, but he isn't. You know what I mean? So that, but I'll get into that in a second. Let's see. Okay, so let me type in his chart. Do a new one? No. My people. This is so funny. My human design chart app that I have that like, I do other people. It says my design, which is mine, and then it says my people. So I like that. All right, so let's see. So his birthday is November 12th. So we've got Ryan Gosling. Ryan Goling. Thanks. Okay. 1980. He's only 9 years older than me? Weird. Why was I thinking he was older than that? Why was I thinking he was older than that? He's 43? Okay. Wow, that's weird. This is that I don't know why this is tripping me out so much. November 12th. Okay. All right. No. There we go. All right. And then his birth time, 14. So 2:34 p.m. And then Toronto, Canada. You ever just like start typing something and you attempt to like correct the spelling a million times? You're like, oh my gosh, that's not what I'm trying to type. Whew, that just happened. Okay, so all right, let's look at his gates. So gate 43 is his sun gate, unique opinions and insights. Your flair on life, the flavor through which you see life, is your value add. Whenever you second guess your opinion, check where that's coming from. Is it from a fear of that others won't like, approve, or get on board with? Because ironically, people will receive what you say the most when you resolute in your insights. Don't let the fact that others might not like it, get it, or agree with it. Hold on. With this gate, you are someone who has unique opinions and insights. You have a very specific way of seeing things that comes to you easily. The way that you see things comes so effortlessly to you that it's as if they are just blatantly obvious, but you having your specific points of view is necessary to your purpose. Formulate them, get strong in them, and hold on to them. That doesn't explain anything to me. Sorry. Did anybody else feel that way? Let's look at the other ones. That's why I have so many resources, because some just so you know, in human design, all these books and all these apps and all these websites that I have access to, they all have different information. And the reason why is because everybody has like a different interpretation of these things. And I know that sounds counter, like not counterproductive, but like it's almost like hypocritical in a way, for human design, because it's all like hearsay, but they all have the same theme. It's just some people explain it better than others. That's all. 43. Let's see. Gate 43. What is that in? Let's see. 43. Okay, so that's in the Ajna. Okay. Where is it? Where is it? All right. Oh, there it is. Gate 33. No, gate 43. Oh gosh. Sorry, guys. I love this book, but every time, I'm always like, why did they have to do the way that this particular book has all the gates listed? Is it lists all of the gates that are in this center, all of the gates that are in this center. So it goes by the center. So you've got your, like, the crown center. So it's 61, 64, and 63. And then you go to your Ajna center and it's 47, 24, 4. So it's not numerical, okay? Why not just put all this stinking gates in numerical order? Like this is, anyways. Okay, gate 43. The gate of breakthrough is what it's called. So it's as if you have a voice inside your head, always ready to deliver deep insights that will constitute a breakthrough, capable of making a difference to a work project or people's lives. You receive brilliant flashes of pure knowing, which makes sense for his splenic inner authority. But it often seems that no one around you understands. No one around you understands matters in your life or on your level, huh? Okay, you can be one step ahead of everyone else, yet unable to express your insights clearly. Um, you don't suffer fools gladly. What you'll find when you're interacting with different people or situations is that insights will arrive. The wisdom comes in knowing whether it's timely to communicate those insights. Um, this gate can actually become stubbornly wrapped up in their own insights and unconcerned with the thoughts of others. The point here is that your insights cannot be swayed. They just need to be appreciated. So, staying resolute to your own truth and being patient is the way to nurture your nature. What you must appreciate is that your insights are novel and it may take time for the penny to drop with others. So, this one is a little harder to depict. Why is this for him? I mean, none of this is really like ringing true. Like I'm not like, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense. Like his projector makes sense. His 2-4 definitely makes sense. But the 43 gate, I don't know. What's this? Yeah, that that is not really like, let's look at some more, some more options. This person, so this woman who made this book, Karen Curry Parker, she did the gates in numerical order, which helps significantly. That's 37, 38. So it's 4. Okay, we're 43, 42, 43. Okay. Okay. So this is the gate of insight, aka breakthrough, insight, breakthrough. The theme: you tap into new knowledge, understandings, and insights that expand people's understanding of the world. You will align with the right timing and trust that you'll know how to share what you know when you need to share it. What? Oh, that sounds like a riddle or something. Life lessons, true epiphanies, and deep inner knowing. Still not really saying too much. I think, to be honest, like this sound, I've never really come across Ryan Gosling when he's like, "Oh, breakthroughs! Like, let me share with my breakthroughs." I don't. That's not like jumping out to me. So this gate, unfortunately, like I'm having a hard time being like, yeah, that makes sense. Most likely, like in this scenario, if he was like on the other end of this, he'd probably like, yeah, that is me. Um, there's just something about him that really strikes me as like oh my gosh, how do I explain this? It makes sense with the 2-4 that he would be this way, but it's kind of like it's almost like he goes out of his way to be really charismatic. Uh, it's almost kind of like I don't know if you've ever seen or heard certain celebrities talk about how they kind of take on a different persona when they perform or when they, it's kind of like they embody a different personality, That's kind of what I'm getting is that like he probably is, I mean, he has to be like this in his private life. Because like I don't even think he has an Instagram. I don't think he has an Instagram. Let's see. Hello? I don't think Ryan Gosling has an Instagram. Let's see. Um, which would make sense and go hand in hand with what I'm saying. So let's see. Ryan Gosling. Point being is that he is a very private person. Yeah, he doesn't have an Instagram. Um, so he's a very private person, and so I think that this aspect it's not common for it to show because none of this is making any sense to me. And this is the first time that I've ever read a celebrity's chart, and I was like, oh my god, this doesn't make sense. This is the one aspect that I'm like, everything else, him being a projector, a splenic projector, that makes sense. Him being a 2-4 profile makes sense. Him having the prodigal channel makes a lot of sense. And also the channel of transformation all makes sense. So I have a feeling that aspect of him he doesn't really let out. So going to his profile, with that being said, the 2-4. So the 2 represents the hermit. It's the gate of, like, not the gate, but the profile number, basically, of somebody that's a hermit. They kind of want to be by themselves. They want to be a little bit more isolated, learn, kind of like, I guess, not self mastery, but kind of. Let's see. My people. Ryan is a part of my people, apparently. Another like theme, like name of this is the easy breezy genius, which makes sense for him. Okay, the easy breezy genius. My mom is a 2-4, and she is one of the smartest people that I know. Once again, there's something very calculated about that. Okay, this is making sense. There's something very calculated about the way that he like shows up in interviews. He's very calculated. It is very calculated. And I don't mean to say that about my mom, because I don't look at my mom as somebody that's highly calculated. She's highly intelligent, but she has a completely different chart. She's a manifesting generator. So with that being said, though, but so let's see. The number 2 is called the natural. On the inside, you're a natural, which means there are certain things you seem to be effortlessly good at without really knowing how you came to be good at those things. That's 100% my mom, but also 100% Ryan. Um, da, 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 da. Okay, and then the 4 is the people person. I have a 4 in my chart or my profile, so I can speak to that. It's basically the community number of the profile numbers. Being around people, the networker. He's a total networker. I can totally see that. Um, yes, and it says here, on the outside, people see you as a people person. Being a people person means that the universe will bring your dreams to your door via the people you've made connections with in your life, which makes sense. It makes sense for him. All right, let's get to when they come together. So there's a dichotomy between the natural and the people person. Since the natural has a hermit side to it, and the people person is naturally friendly, and people are drawn to you. So a lot of people that have 4 in their charts always are highly liked. They're always well liked. I forget what was Timothy. I forget what he was already. Sorry, Timothy. He was a 3-5. That's what he was. He was a 3-5. But he has a lot of other aspects that were very much like why people love him. But for anybody that has a 4 in their profile, it has just this natural ability to connect with a large group of people, and therefore that means they're really well received by a majority of people. We can relate to people really easily because we just like to be in the company of other people. We also understand the concept that there is what is the word I'm looking for? Um, there, it, gosh, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's like there's gold in knowing a lot of people, because when you know a lot of people, everybody's here to do something, right? So you can connect people with other people that are in need of like what these other people's gifts or talents are. So like I honestly, one of my favorite things to do is like, you have a question about how to get into this industry, like, oh yeah, like let me help you. I actually know somebody that does that, let me like connect you. Like I that's something that I love to do. And so pretty much all profiles that have 4s in them are very much like that. We like to connect people, we like networking, we like to be around people a lot. um so yeah, that's that. So the 4 gives you a motivation when it comes time to share your gift, but the 2 in you also doesn't care that much about sharing. Interesting. The world will tell you what you can't that you can't be both. Um but both of these sides are here to serve you. Even though you start off unaware of your gifts, the journey of your life is fully trust and rely on them. Yeah, your physical body can exhaust easily. Make sure you don't say yes too often. Oh, here we go. Here we go. You have a natural shyness to you that protects you. This ensures someone's call to is strong enough. Sorry, this ensures someone's call is strong enough that they actually do want you to share your gifts and filters out the casual requests. Okay, that makes sense because you won't just say yes to anyone. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so with the profiles, the first number that you have before the slash, that is like your outward how people view you. So it's your outward personality, it's how people are um actively or consciously reacting to the energy of your personality. And then the second number is a little bit more on the unconscious side. Um, so I think that it's interesting. It's just interesting that dynamic with him because once again, he has this, I don't know, this energy about him that like first glance is like, oh yeah, that's he's a shy boy, but he ain't shy. He ain't shy, right? But he also is very guarded. Um, November 12th, I think that's Scorpio, which makes a lot of sense for him. But anyways, not to I don't mean to roll my eyes in a bad way. I'm rolling my eyes because like that he's total Scorpio. That's Scorpio, right? Yeah, Scorpio. Yeah, Scorpio. Okay. Um so moving on to his channels. Let's go to his channels. 1333 the prodigal. I meant to do this. Okay. Got to add it again because this is a different app. Different apps have different all different resources have better aspects. That's why I'm saying when you go to somebody for a human design reading, chances are that one reader has their like they are leaning into their own human design by focusing on the aspect of the design that is most uh not even relevant, but like it they're leaning into their genius zone of sharing the parts of the chart that they connect with the most. So for me, connecting to your purpose and connecting to how you move in the world and how to manifest in the best way, like there is this number right here. in the Jupiter gate, that's what unlocks your abundance. And that's something I go over in my charts. Not everybody does that. Some people have, a focus on the shadow aspects of your design. Some people really only focus on your centers and how to move forward with, your life, understanding which centers are open and which centers are closed and what it means. I don't do that. It's, sometimes I go over it if it feels, necessary to share, but it's very interesting because the reason why I'm saying all of this is that uh, when you get any type of resource, when you follow any particular human design reader, they always have a focus. And it's kind of like, like makeup, right? Makeup brands, they're every makeup brand has their focus or their like top product that everybody knows. Everything else is kind of like, oh yeah, like it could be good, it could be great, but everybody comes for this, right? That's kind of the concept that I'm trying to portray or explain. Ryan Gosling. Okay. All right, Ryan. Okay, so we've got November 12th, 1980. Okay. November 12th, 1980. Oh, wrong way. I still can't believe that he's only 9 years older than me. That is so strange. Like when I was when I was thoroughly obsessed with him in middle school and high school, I thought that he was like 15 years older than me at least. Um Time of birth 234. Okay. Anyway, he is from Canada. Yeah. Is Keanu Reeves from Canada? I think almost everybody that I have done chart readings on have been Canadian, except Britney Spears. Um, Toronto. Because, yes, yesterday, did I look at Justin Bieber's? I didn't look at Justin Bieber's, but Justin Bieber is Canadian. Maybe I'll do him next. Toronto, Canada. All right, let's do this. Okay. All right, let's look at these channels. Prodigal. Gives people a goal, sets direction, and takes creative direction. Their guiding power and directing power is not only effective, it is beautiful. Makes sense. Your story determines the future of those who follow you. The memory is poured out through the throat center. So these are people that are really good storytellers. You know, or basically your memories poured out through the throat center, saying things like, here, I remember when I did insert, and in my experience, whatever. You are a talkative witness, but also a skillful listener. Can I just like come back to what I said at the beginning of this? I know that when Ryan Gosling is in interviews, he is 100% studying the person that is interviewing him, and he's reflecting back. He's meeting that person. He's kind of like um it's the projector in him. He's meeting them where they're at, energetically speaking, but he's also reading that person to figure out how to like act around them. Does that make sense? And I don't think it's a manipulative, like, I don't think, but you can tell on a psychological scale. Ask any like behavioral therapist about that. Honestly, you can see it. You can see it. Um you are a talkative witness, but also a skillful listener. Your awareness of yourself grows within the accumulation of life, which is for everybody. I mean, my gosh, that's okay. As a result, you become the perfect vest for anyone who wants to cry in you. Okay. Um, People want to trust you in the most intimate with the most intimate secrets. It seems to your friends that you are capable of comprehending any of their difficulties. Complete strangers will dump their confession on you with the words, I absolutely do not know why I am telling you this, which I could see that with him. I could totally see it with him. Um, uh, You guys, this is so freaking funny. Remember what I literally just said 2 seconds ago? Listen to what this last paragraph says, okay? You are able to read a person like a book. Did I not just say that? I picked up on that before I even started. And then I repeated myself, I think a couple times at this point. And it literally says that. He can read people very well, and you can see that in his behavioral. Like, you can tell he reads people. This is awesome. You're able to read a person like a book, finding meanings in it, sometimes inaccessible to him. Your sensitive perception and empathy are sometimes even intimidating. I could see that. However, your worldly wisdom always remains the best consultant for anyone. People around you begin to understand who they really are and why they are here. Yeah, he that makes complete sense. Did I not say that? Did I not say that? I love it when I'm right. You know what I mean? I honestly could just psychoanalyze everybody. I love psychoanalyzing on a behavioral psychological stand, like, and then bringing it into human design. Yes, that's why I love human design so much, because there are a lot of people, especially a lot of people in my, well, not maybe not a lot of people in my life, but there's people in my life that, you know I am super into astrology. Obviously, I'm super into human design and things of that such. But not everybody is, and there's been a handful of people that are like, ew, astrology, like Matt Rife, for example. I have nothing to do with him. He is not in my life. I don't know him at all. Not necessarily a fan of him, but it's kind of hard not to like watch some of his content. But I don't like him. Anyway, he'd be interesting to see what his chart says. Actually, we should do that one next. He's probably not on it though. He's not. I don't think he's famous enough. It'd be surprising. So anyway, when with astrology, like I could go on and on about how I fully believe in astrology, but that is not what I'm going to talk about today. But what's so fascinating is with human design, there are elements of these charts that are just, there's no way to deny how accurate this is. And yeah, that it's just like, I can understand why some people will be really off put by astrology. Like, I get it, I guess. But human design is on another level. It's on another level. That it uses psychology, it uses science, and it uses DNA, and it also uses the planetary positions. So it's all about energy, and it's all about numbers, and that is it. That is literally it. And you technically, that's what astrology is, but a lot of people just choose to ignore that. But whatever. That's something that actually really irritates me. But like I said, I'm not going to talk about that today. Okay, structuring. So the channel 2343, structuring. Let's see. Structuring, what does that even mean? Okay. 23. Let's see. Okay. You paint the bigger picture for everyone, bringing increased structuring to their lives. Your world is built on a succession of perceptive mental assessments and observations. See, once again, your world is built on a succession of perceptive mental assessments and observations. I am telling you, he is a calculated person. I'm telling you. I have a really, really, like, oh my God, if this ever happened, I would be so stinking sad. Just what if okay, so how do I explain this? So the guy, what is his name? He was a serial killer. I don't necessarily want to say and be like, I think Ryan Gosling's a serial killer. I don't think that. I don't. But my point with this is that I think he actually is a very private person. It makes complete sense that he does not have social media. He is a private person. How many times have we seen him in like Us Weekly with his wife or his kids? Like, have you ever seen a photo of Ryan Gosling's kids? Did you even know he had kids? Him and his wife Eva Mendes, sorry, have kids. Did you know this? You would not know that unless, like, I mean, you have to dig. The only reason why I know it, the only reason why I know that he has kids is because she gave birth at some hospital, the Cedar Sinai, when my sister worked there. That's the only reason why I know that he has kids. You never see anything in the public, like in like the magazines or TMZ or anything like that. At least I don't pay attention to TMZ, so I could be wrong in that. But you never see anything about it. He's a very private person. So it's so interesting to me when I analyze and psychoanalyze the fact that he is a highly super private person in real life, but he is so charismatic when he is being interviewed and when he's being out in the wild. I'm pretty sure I've heard a lot of really great things about people that have worked with him on the movies that he's been in. Really just a really kind and charismatic person, very flirtatious. He's very known to be super duper flirtatious. But once again, he knows that he's doing that. He's doing it on purpose. He's doing it to disguise the real him. And I think a lot of actors tend to do that. I mean, my gosh, Johnny Depp is a perfect example of that. But I just find that interesting. So that one sentence backs what I was just saying and the feelings that I've gotten just from watching him on interviews, which is your world is built on a succession of perceptive mental assessments and observation. He is a highly observant person, and you can see it. Has anybody ever picked that up when they've been watching him on interviews? He is like, oh my God, I'm like so excited about this that I can't even form words. Out of all the 36 channels, this is one of the most empowering because you're forever fizzing with flashes of light that have an urgency to be articulated because you are quite literally someone who speaks your mind. I think he actually does speak his mind, but he has a really charismatic way about it. But he does it in the most friendly way possible. I've never come across any clips of him where he's being rude or anything like that. And I actually I'm that girl that goes on rabbit holes of like the video compilations of interviewers that ask like the dumbest questions, and like the response for the person that's being asked is like, okay, yeah, right on, asshole, like moving on, don't ever ask that question again. And he's never come up in any of them. So the activation between the mind and throat brings a need to express your knowing and demonstrate your insights for the awareness of others. So he's probably the type of person that when he's on set, if he is, seeing people being mistreated, he's the type of person, he's going to say something. He is going to say something. That's what this is indicating anyway. He when something is going in not a good direction, this channel is suggesting that he is the type that would say something. Okay, and then the last channel that he has is 3254, which is the transformation channel. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Channel transformation. You are immensely driven and determined to succeed through applying yourself and finding the right people who can help you climb the career ladder. That makes sense. For sure. Although he was a child actor, so I'd be interested to learn more about that dynamic with his parents, because he was on Mickey Mouse Club. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Mickey Mouse Club. And he did a lot of stuff when he was younger. I want to say, wasn't he like Hercules or like something like that? He's had a very long career. Sometimes you sense a power greater than yourself thrusting you forward and upward. Interesting. Your motto is almost, I'll make it to the top no matter what it takes. Material or spiritual success matters to you, and you're forever scouring your environment to find the allies and connections that can help you get there. This fierce ambition is fueled by a fear of failure, which is from the gate 32. And this means there is a tendency for you to become a workaholic. Okay. Yep. Yep. You can be the last out of the office, or putting in overtime, determined to impress the boss or hit the latest sales or performance targets. So when he first started, like I don't I don't get the sense that that's how he feels today. I think he has done a lot in his career. I think he's kind of ready to like settle down. But when he first started, he was a machine. He was doing one thing after another. And so that makes sense to me. I could totally see him being highly ambitious to achieve those goals. Once again, I've said this in all of the readings that I've done for these actors. You have to have a certain amount of like immense drive, um, and turning that on, if you want to be somebody that is, in movies, and just being somebody that is an actor or a musician. You know what I'm saying? To be somebody on that level. You know what I mean? It's not like he did The Notebook and had just this crazy amount of fame, and then he's like, I'm gonna bow out. For example, Robert Pattinson. Not that Robert Pattinson hasn't. I mean, he's had a really successful career. Don't get me wrong, but once he did Twilight, he was like, big chain movies, big high budget movies. And then he did Batman, recently, but that was one of the biggest movies he did since Twilight. And Robert Pattinson has done a lot. He has done a lot of independent films. Ryan Gosling has done his fair share of independent films as well, but he has done a lot more big budget films than Robert Pattinson. So that's a really good example to kind of compare the two, of someone like Ryan, who very much is driven by kind of achieving those goals, and his goals in particular to, be a well-known or well-respected award-winning actor, right? Whereas like Robert Pattinson, he just kind of, he wasn't, he wants that, but he doesn't want it on that scale. Does that make sense? That's the best way to describe it. So yeah, that's really funny because it's called Channel of Transformation, but when I was reading it, that didn't necessarily ring like obvious. Um, okay. The Channel of Transformation. Uh, Wait a second. You're here to expand and compete to be the best in life. Interesting. It's the Channel of Transformation because, that's funny. I was just asking that question and it's just like literally the next paragraph answering my, you know, confusion. Channel transformation because it can shake up your life and all those around you once your advancement kicks in. You have a compulsion to succeed, and your contacts book is brimming with connections to those who can assist your ascent into a position of power and wealth. So that's his 2-4, really, really coming into play there. But as a result, wait, hold on. Did I just brimming connections? You are all about power, meetings in the boardroom, and behind the scenes chats that can fast track your life. But as a result, the one question you're forever asking yourself in business and social circles is, can this person help me get where I want to be? Which is a aspect of his profile. In this regard, you follow the senses of your spleen and you follow your nose. Yeah. So he once again, that's still a very odd way to describe that channel, the transformation. Because in my mind, it's like, helping people transform, or like, I mean, I guess transformation though, like if you think about it on a surface level, transforming into a character is very much, in line with that. But yeah, he has a lot of desire for power and desire for kind of material and spiritual, um success, like high amount of success. So that actually makes a lot of sense. I've definitely picked up the undertone of that with just hyper analyzing and psychoanalyzing his interviews. I've watched so many of them, and there's always this undertone. There's always an undertone that you can tell it's either like he's trying to figure out that person, he's trying to read that person. Most likely he's taking note of what that person could potentially help him with in the future if he ever needs that, or if somebody in his circles could utilize or connect with that person. I'm sure plenty of times it's completely, genuine, but I think that there are times that he knows how to charm people. He knows that he's a charmer. He's a charmer. Okay. Moving on to his incarnation cross, the right angle cross of explanation, number 4. Let's see. What's that? 250. What? Oh. I just got a thingy notification saying how to make $250 per week typing. Sign me up. All right. Okay. Going to the other one. Let's look at his incarnation cross. Oh. Sorry, I was just laughing at another aspect of his chart, but I'm not going to go over it. Sorry, I don't mean to be that person that pulls that shit. Okay, right angle cross of explanation 4. Wait a second, didn't it? This app is so weird. Sometimes it gives me like a title, like a theme, and this time it's not weird. Okay. Okay, so his incarnation cross, for whatever reason, she does not have a title for it. So, for example, my incarnation cross on my chart says the bonus life. This says nothing. It says nothing. There's no, nickname for it. You see things in a way that's way ahead of the other people, way ahead of the way other people see them. And you have the gift of explaining those lofty concepts in crystal clear ways so that they are easy to grasp. You're here to share these insights so that you herald and more evolved ways of seeing life into this world. Specifically, there are certain subjects that you're fascinated by and see so clearly. These are the ones you're meant to focus on. Oops. You have a strong passion for helping change society for the better, and people are attracted to your work even more when you show that altruistic side of you. Uh, they can sense that you're helping to bring in a new world, and those that are ready for it will flock right to you. I do think that this aspect of him is a little bit more on the side that is his hermit side. I think he shares that. Like, for example, you know, a part of that just said, like, almost like humanitarian in a way. Like, he's not, I wouldn't say humanitarian, but he's here to help people. He's here to make change and for this new world. I've never personally, I could be wrong in this. I don't think I've ever seen him like Leonardo DiCaprio, for example. Leonardo DiCaprio is a huge advocate for global warming, right? He it's a whole thing. Uh, let's see who else. I can't think of anybody else on the top of my head, but I don't it's not like when I think of Ryan Gosling, I think of like, some big thing that he's a part of to like make change. Once again, I think that those types of endeavors that he does, he's not doing it for the famous aspect of it. Like he's not like that comes with his movies. You know what I'm saying? He has a very private life. He wants a very private life when it comes to his life rather than his work. Like I think that he's the type of person that very much separates the two. So I think that that's probably an aspect of his life that not very many people see. And I think he's probably more quiet about it. He probably contributes to a lot of, charities and stuff like that, but he's not so, I did this charity, and he's not like yelling about it. Okay. Um, hold on. Okay, that is okay, explanation. So, okay, really quick though. There's a summary statement and it says to share and explain your individual genius rights with people with clarity and simplicity. So really what it is in this incarnation cross is it's like um he's able to take like complex things and just like simplify it. The last part threw me off because it was all about like helping bring people into a new world, and I don't know. I think that he 100% has a strong passion for helping people change society. But when I think of like the statement, like you're helping people bring in a new world, I literally think of like Leonardo DiCaprio, like making huge movements. That's not the word I'm looking for, but like change. Um, and he's very vocal about it. I don't Ryan Gosling is not very he doesn't even have a freaking social media. Once again, he probably has a fake one. He probably has his own little like, uh incognito one where it's like, you know, whatever. I know they all have that. Maybe he doesn't though. He probably doesn't give two shits. Okay. So that's Ryan Gosling. The interesting thing is that this is the first time I've ever read a celebrities chart that am very fond of. Timothy, I'm super fond of Timothy, but I don't know that much about him. So, but there was still obvious aspects of his chart that I was like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. With Ryan's, this was a really interesting experience because some of it didn't add up to me. I'm like, wait a second, what? So yeah, very interesting. Let's look. We'll do one more. I know I was like, I'm not going to do 3 hours today. Well, I guess I will. Ryan Gosling. Okay, let's look at Robert Pattinson. Now, I'm gonna say this. Pattinson. Ooh. Hold on. I just want to see for a second. Matt Rife. Let's see. Is Matt Rife in here? I have a feeling he's not. He's not. F you, Matt Rife. Okay. Okay, so hi, baby. Oh, how are you? That's little Nesta. For whatever reason, whenever I'm in her presence, that is how I speak to her. So I am sorry. It's probably so annoying. Okay, so Robert Pattinson. I think that's how you spell it, Pattinson. It's not an E-N, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I haven't okay, I didn't read it. I want to make some guesses with his chart. So wouldn't be surprised if he's a projector. He's probably or maybe a reflector. He might be a reflector. And I have a feeling that there's going to be aspects in his chart that are very like closed off, like shy. He's very he's just not in your face. He's not that he really doesn't like interviews. He refuses to answer any questions that have anything regarding Twilight. The whole mega famous thing is not his it's not his thing. Like so he you can tell that he goes out of his way to try to get like not be in that bubble. And I'd be interested. He probably has had some pretty interesting experiences to say the least. He was in Harry Potter, and I did not know that until recently. Don't come for me with that. I watched the first Harry Potter many times and bits of the second one, but I watched all of the movies recently, and I had no idea that Robert Pattinson was in it, Mr. Cedric, whatever. All right, let's see. Oh, he's a generator? That makes zero sense, but okay. Okay. That doesn't make any sense at all. Generators they have a ton of energy, and Robert Pattinson is one of the most like laid back chill guys. There's got to be some aspects of his chart that really lean into that. Hopefully. And he's a 4-6. That's really interesting. So the funny thing is that he is a generator, an emotional generator. That makes sense. But his 4-6 profile, 4-6s are very outgoing, usually. usually speaking. Why is this is, showing people that, like, whatever. Okay. Oh, he has a right angle cross of explanation as well. Interesting. Oh. Okay, so that he's only two incarnation crosses. Not incarnation crosses. It's the same incarnation cross. It's the same quadrant incarnation as Ryan Gosling, which I find to be very interesting. Okay, let's just dive in. He's 37. Okay. He's only like 3 years older than me. All right. Oh my God. What? Gosh, this is wild. I had no idea. I thought he was older. I thought he was in his. I guess I didn't. Maybe not in his 40s. Okay, that makes sense. I feel like I don't even know. I don't feel like my age, so I'm just being dramatic here. Okay, let's see. So, so he has a sun gate of 23. Let's look at gate 23. Bum, 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 bum. Chart? No. Okay, gift 23. Oh, I don't have the gift. Okay, so I'm gonna have to add this in. He's going into my people. All right, so Robbie P. That's what his name is going to be in my chart system. 1986, May 13th. Okay. Oh, he's a number 4 like me. When I say he's a number 4, I mean that numerology wise. 86. Wow, he's only 3 years older than me. This is really weird. Birth time. 8:32 a.m. a.m. Hi, Ruby. How you doing? No, not that. He was born in London. I always forget that he's actually English. Okay. View design. Let's go. Okay. Emotional authority, regal authority figure. Okay, that makes sense. So the 4/6 profile, the title of it, like the theme of it, is called the regal authority figure. So that does make sense, I suppose. I mean, I guess he was. I mean, the reason he got famous is because of Twilight, which is a massive cult following. It's a huge community of readers, you know what I mean? And just everybody was obsessed with that, both the series, like the book series and the movies. So that does make sense. That does make sense. Okay. Okay, so number 23, communicating with clarity. Ooh. Okay, so really quick, remember what I just said about how when he's in interviews, he's like, we're not talking about Twilight. So I feel like the interviews that I've watched with him, he's very articulate, and he's also really good about communicating what he is like comfortable with talking about and not comfortable with talking about. And I've seen him in action, like clearly with much intention, take an interview, because I mean he has had some really lame interviewers that have asked him some of the dumbest questions. But he handles it really well. So, and I can only imagine that the list. So when celebrities go to interview, you may or may not know this, but they give their publicists or their managers or their agents will give a list of things that their client or the actor or the celebrity, it is willing to talk about or not willing to talk about. Now, if you're Ellen DeGeneres, she never cared about that list, which is why so many times she would actually use it against them. She's a horrible person on so many levels, which is why not very many, you don't see too many interviews. I mean, there were a good handful that not Ryan, Robert was like asked questions that he didn't want to answer. But like with Ellen, you can tell that she clearly was debriefed to not talk about that, and she did that so many times. But you can tell in the interviews with him that he's just like absolutely just like, are you kidding? So, like, she was the type of host, TV show host that did it because she knew it would get a rise out of people. Um, Terrible person, terrible human being. Um, Okay, so 23, going back, sorry, I didn't mean to get on the tangent of how much I loathe Ellen DeGeneres. Okay, so to flex this gift to the max, cut the fluff both in your mind and your words. Take time to sort out your own thoughts first, and then express the essentials in the simplest form possible. Don't share when you're triggered or heightened or reactive, and certainly don't ever add in any fluff to your conversation. Keep asking yourself, what are the important parts here? Your communication shines best when you stay very clear cut, unemotional, and detached from feelings. So, this is really interesting that this is saying this because if you watch the interviews, the times that he has been asked the questions that clearly he told the people not to ask, he actually does it very like I said, he doesn't allow the emotion to get the best of him. And so the reason why I'm bringing up the interviews as examples is because the interviews that they do, that celebrities do, that is usually when they are just being themselves. They're not portraying other characters, right? So actors, that's what they do. They portray other people. And so they when they're interviewed, they essentially are being themselves. And so I'm sure I could dig up an interview where he is perturbed by it. But and he's an emotional authority, so it could probably be pretty triggering for him. But his sun sign is here to learn how to deal with that and deal with it in a graceful way, a respectful way. Not even respectful, because that's not necessarily the word. It's more of like grace. And so when he's able to be triggered by, say, a question he doesn't want to answer, that, with Ellen DeGeneres, you can see that, like, he deflects it very easily, and does well. So, like, I don't remember who it was. There was an interview. I don't remember who it was. I don't know whose show it was, but they did start asking about Twilight, and he just smiled. He's like, "We're not talking about that, next question." So, and I think that he has mastered that, because he probably does. He just gets it all the time. So he's probably annoyed by it, but just put this in perspective. Say, for instance, he was not living in his design. If he was not embodying the fact that, like, he does really well with communicating and taking the direction of a conversation to something that he's a little more comfortable with, but in a very calm, collected, cool way. Someone like this would be like, for example, Trump. Okay, Trump doesn't do well with people calling him out or asking him questions that he feels are dumb questions. He goes crazy. He becomes very erratic in a way. That's somebody that, like, say, for instance, and he's not, I know for a fact, Trump does not have this in his sun sign at all. I most likely he would probably have gate, like, I forget the gate number, but there's a gate where he's a provoker. He probably has it in a very big part of his chart. Um, but regardless, somebody with this, like Robert Pattinson, has very much shown this to be true, where can he does really well with bringing understanding and grace to, say, a chaotic experience, a chaotic event, or like a uncomfortable situation, right? And then communicating in a really graceful way to, like, steer it, right? Instead of allowing his emotions to get the best of him. Somebody that is not living in their design, that would have this as their sun gate, would be somebody that does get offended, that does get irritated, that does get angry, and kind of come back with a lot of just mean behavior, right? Vindictiveness, you know what I'm saying? He honestly, like he 100%. I am interested to see other explanations of gate 23. So let me look into that. Gate 23. Where is that at in his gate 23? Oh, it's in the throat. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Throat center 23, not 33. Okay. So this is gate of assimilation. Ooh, which I have this in my chart somewhere. What you do and say can bring dramatic change to your world. Gate 23 tends to shake up life and instigate new perspectives. Indeed, your grand statements can often come right out of the blue and make everyone sit down and take note. Imagine a landslide that breaks loose from a mountain and, as the rocks and earth tumble away, exposes previously unseen views of the mountain. This is what it's like sometimes when you express yourself. So, kind of unveiling things that people don't see, right? You are a proponent of radical measures and are eager to see people thinking in new ways and embracing new approaches. The question is, are your contributions timely and appreciated? Assimilation gate gets right to the point, sometimes impatiently stripping away what is not apparently useful anymore. Okay, so that statement right there says exactly what I was bringing to the table with this, is that if he doesn't feel like the conversation has meaning, he's not going to go there. I am almost positive, I could be getting this mixed up with another actor, that he was in an interview where they were asking him, one, there's been a lot of interviews where he's been like, yeah, we're not talking about Twilight. But I feel like I remember seeing an interview with him where it did get off of topic. And he's like, are we not talking about the movie? Are we talking about something else? So he's just able to like call somebody out for going in a different direction or not seeing, like, you know what I'm saying? Da, 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 da. A simulation gets right to the point. So he gets right to the point. We're not having that conversation about Twilight, moving on. You know, that does that question actually pertain to the movie that we're talking about today? Yes or no? No. Okay, let's move on. And he's not like Robert Downey Jr. I think Robert Downey Jr. was the one that did that, to be honest. But Robert Downey Jr. He gets mad. You know, he will tell somebody off, and I've seen interviews where he's like told some interviewers off. Donald Trump tells people off. Robert Pattinson, his sun gate is to literally get straight to the point, call somebody out, not be, super excessive in his wording. He's just like, he gets to the point. And that is his personality. I mean, my gosh, that's why it was so confusing to me that he was a generator, because he is a man of very few words. That's probably the best way to describe him. His sun gate is the theme of he's a man of few words, but communicates very gracefully. With that being said, you can bring out an entirely different view of the world with your authoritative manner. As a voice, Gate 23 speaks with the forthright and clipped tone of "I know something," keen to bring out change or add a fresh dimension. It can sound very knowledgeable and factual when when actually its knowing may not be used on anything relevant at all. Many would call you forthright, direct, and blunt. That makes sense in how he, kind of navigates his interviews. And this can sometimes lead to great misunderstandings. I could see that. I could see people thinking he's maybe dull or kind of a butthole or something. I mean, my gosh, it would be really funny to see where 23 is in the one guy, I don't remember his name. I always forget his name. But everybody on social media is like doing memes of his like bitch face. The guy from Peaky Blinders, that guy. He probably has 23 somewhere. Somewhere big. Yeah, so many would call you forthright, direct, and blunt. And this can sometimes lead to great misunderstandings. So choose your language and your timing carefully. It's almost always preferable when your comments and view of the world are invited by others. Yeah, yeah. So that makes sense. That's his 23 gate, his sun gate. So, So yeah, he's just like a man of few words. But he just gets to the point. He's very blunt. And so the more that he leads into that, um, interestingly enough, if somebody did not have gate 23 in their sun gate, they would be misunderstood. I think he is misunderstood, but it would come off a completely different way. Whereas because this is his sun sign, it's well received. And when he is doing that, when he is being more direct, more blunt, he actually is igniting the the sun gate in his, design, and therefore becoming magnetic. So that's why he's had such a successful career, even though his interviews have been a little bit more, just like straightforward, instead of people, just assuming that he's just a butthole. And he's never come off as that way. At least I have never felt that he's come off like an asshole. I have always felt that he's very poised, I guess. Is poised the word? He's just very mm, like how do I say this? Put together. He's very put together and very concise. And just he's not here to have like like small talk, you know. I feel like gate 23 probably is not the type that's gonna sit there and have small talk unless like, maybe he knows you well. Yeah, he's not the type to have small talk. I can like imagine what that would even look like, and I can't even picture it. So let's see. Okay. So the next part of his chart that we'll go over is his channels. So he has channel 2343, which is structuring. Let's see. So yeah, he's a man of structure. I would say that. This individual expression gifts you with an insight that breaks new ground and can change how others view the world. You paint the bigger picture for everyone, bringing increased structuring in their life. Your world is built on a succession of perceptive mental assessments and observations. It's almost as if you have a third eye. Everybody has a third eye, relatively speaking, spiritually speaking. Out of all the 36 channels, this is one of the most empowering. Did I? Oh, yeah, I just read this one. Wait, right? Did I just read this? Does Timothy have this in his? Is that why I'm reading this again? Or Ryan, maybe? Anyways, out of the 36 channels, this is one of the most empowering because you're forever fizzing with flashes of insight that have an urgency to be articulated because you are quite literally someone who speaks your mind. Did I just read this? The activation between this channel brings a need to express your knowing and demonstrate your insights for the awareness of others. The quality of your expressed insights means you can blow people out of the water, provoking all sorts of reactions. Did I read this already? The great task for the 2343 is to get the message across in a simple, tactful manner. So this is like the theme for his life, is to just be not let shit get to him. Um, Interestingly enough, I know for a fact. So Twilight, he has a weird thing about the fact that like everybody asks him about Twilight. Um, and I'm wondering, I don't think I've ever really watched a ton of interviews during the time period of Twilight, but I can almost guarantee that he probably had some interviews that like he was just like, "Yo, shut up," and didn't lean into what he's supposed to do, which is just ignore the ignorance, and don't let it get it to you. With him being an emotional authority, emotional authorities, I'm an emotional authority, and so we get triggered really easily. We take things personal really easily, and so that right there is kind of a conflict, like an inner conflict where you're here to just like learn how to just like be straightforward and not let things get to you. Um, even though you're an emotional authority, that's like they counter each other. So that's interesting. Um, let's see. When an insight is accepted, you're considered a genius, which is funny because think about that for a second. He got so much shit for Twilight as an actor, right? But he is actually one of the best actors. He is a great actor. And it wasn't until very recent that people started to actually give him that credit. Uh, so the fact that it says when an insight is accepted, you are considered a genius and this chimes in with your nature. So it's kind of like he finally was accepted by the general public, not, screaming Twilight fans, and he is considered a genius now. Honestly, he's such a great actor. Twilight, once again, I think that he was truly portraying what that character was supposed to be, and he did a great job at it. So like, Kristen Stewart, love Kristen Stewart, but in that series, she's portraying Bella, who is like super awkward. Kristen Stewart, of course, has her own awkwardness, like quirkiness, don't get me wrong, but she was cast for it. And I think she just did exactly what she was being directed to do, which was to be even more awkward. So with Ryan, not Ryan, Robert Pattinson, with Twilight, I think he was also being directed to be a little awkward too. Um, I feel like Robert Pattinson is probably the type of person that can take direction really well. Uh, Therefore, he's a great actor. You know what I mean? But he got shit on for the Twilight series because he was a terrible actor. Actually, he's a phenomenal actor. And now he's finally getting that praise. So that's interesting that that says that in this. When people start frowning, you're suddenly viewed as a freak. That's interesting. I think I've said that's interesting about 50 million times in this entire live stream, but that's fine. What appears obvious to you may seem off the wall and incomprehensible to someone else. So, first ask yourself, is this something people are ready to hear? And am I speaking in turn? Once again, that element, that theme of kind of, think about the things you're going to say before you say them and be concise in what you end up saying. Oddly enough, the tone of your voice is your greatest ally. Yes, it is, because he's British. Anybody wants to, I think all people want to listen to a British accent. And people with the 2343 have a unique sounding voice. True, true. Yes, yes, he does. The tone is always as important as the words you express because it can convey authenticity, confidence, and knowing. Your test, once you've fallen back on your human design authority, the emotional authority, is to know the right time to share your transformational thoughts. 2340, yeah, 2343. Yeah. Yeah, so he just it's just, his theme is like um to choose when to say things. And I think that he's at a point in his life where he understands that that is exactly is a strength of his, to know when to say things and when not to say things. Um I think he's all, once again, what I said earlier about the channels are our superpowers. And until somebody like tells us that that is a superpower, we don't know. It's kind of like when we grow up with our parents, we don't take in consideration that anybody else's parents are any different than ours. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, at the same time, we have those moments of like, oh my God, your parent does that too. You know what I'm saying? It's a really weird, humans are really weird in how we like dissect things on a psychological level. And so with, what was I saying? Where was I going with that? Oh my gosh, I totally lost my train of thought with that. That was going to be a really good thing to say. It was going to be really insightful. So basically what I was saying though, that, okay, so now I remember. It's kind of like we don't understand our gifts until they are reflected back onto us because we assume that everybody else has that gift when in fact they don't. So for him to understand that he is really good at getting to the point, most likely before he like uncovered this power, this superpower of his, this genius zone of his, this channel, he probably was able to tell people how to take this grandiose idea or this crazy long email or text or whatever and condense it way down and be like, look, get way to the point. Okay. Let me help you with that. He probably did that for other people and then later realized that that's just something he's really good at. So when he does it for himself, it is very well received. So channel 2750 of preservation. This goes another, I mean, gosh, preservation, come on. Another element of exactly this. You're a natural caregiver and caretaker, born with a sense of duty to protect and serve. Ironically enough, I just saw an interview that he did with Kristen Stewart, and Kristen, she has a lot of nervous energy, right? She's a very nervous being. She's very anxious, and I think that there's no disguising that she wears her heart on her sleeve for sure. You can read her like a book, but Robert, like they were doing an interview together and she was like jittery. Her leg was like moving nonstop. And I don't know if you've ever seen like all the compilations of like the actors that like, just bring kind of ground the women. It's always a male that's grounding the female. It's really intriguing. I've seen a lot of little clips from the actors of like the cast from Stranger Things with like Millie Bobby Brown and Noah. I don't know his last name. They're besties and he's totally there for her, and there's just like all these really cute little clips. So there was a clip of Robert Pattinson with Kristen Stewart where she was, her leg was just like bobbing up and down like crazy because of her, she was nervous or anxious, whatever, and he kind of puts his hand on her leg, and it's kind of like that's a form of it's actually a form of nervous system regulation. So it's actually really really fascinating to see. That's actually really like admirable, I guess you could say. It's just like you just it's so sweet. It's such a sweet gesture for a guy to witness or just a person to witness somebody else in an element of like heightened anxiety, and they bring them back down to ground them by kind of touching them, tapping them on and doing it in a very like subtle way that's not so like, hey girl, like what are you okay, your leg is like, um so that makes a lot of sense. So channel preservation, natural caregiver, caretaker, born with a sense of duty to protect and serve. So that's him doing exactly that. And I can guarantee you the fact that he did that and he did it in such a subtle way, he totally does that behind closed doors with people he cares about. Don't be surprised to find a lot of service people, health givers, nannies, hospital administrators, executive secretaries, and massage therapists who have this channel. You are always engaged in caring for members of a community by promoting or providing nurturing and the preservation of a way of life. Oh, here's one. So friends and family will no doubt observe how you're always mothering someone for forever wanting to look after people. So he wants to look after people. He's like he's a very nurturing, caring person. But this channel is, I think, why I pick up a projector energy from him, because projectors very much have that essence to them, have that energy, that caretaking, nurturing energy, this like really inviting aura that is that's what usually how my energy kind of picks up projector energy. So that's interesting. That makes a lot of sense. I knew there was going to be a part of his chart that would make sense. Most likely, if we get into the like nitty gritty of human design, we have two sides to our design. Let's actually see. Should I do this? I'll just do this now. Whatever. Quantum. Yeah. So let's see his personality, his design. Let's see what his personality is. This is the outward. This is the hour. Yeah, projector. I knew it. How do I do that thing where you like you snap or whatever? God, ew, going back to high school with that. Okay, I knew it. I knew that there was an aspect of a projector in his chart. So, not to complicate things, but this is just, kind of giving me some like really like ground to stand on with what I was feeling. When you look at your chart, you have your personality side and then you have your design side. Your personality side is how people portray you, how people react to your energy. It's the energy that you give off to everybody around you. That is exactly why I picked up that he was a projector and not a generator. He does not scream generator. So his outward, his personality in his chart is a projector, whereas his, underneath it all is a generator. So let's actually just double check. Let's see, because when you put, well, anyways, I don't want to confuse. Oh, a reflector. How? Do you remember when I said he's either a projector or a reflector? I was right. How is he both a reflector and a projector, but yet a generator? I've never seen that. I've never seen that. Very interesting. Okay. That is so funny. Was I not right? I love it when I'm right. This is why human design is my favorite. And psychology. I you guys, I psychoanalyze everybody. I can watch interviews of celebrities for hours on end. I love the fact that I know as much as I do, or even as little as I do about human design, and I can observe somebody and be like, they're probably a projector. Oh, they're probably a reflector. Oh, he's both a reflector and a projector. That's hilarious. Somehow on his, when you put them together, though, he's a generator, which that doesn't make sense to me, but that's fine. It's fine. We don't have to have explanations to everything in life, right? Um, boo-ba-doo. I actually have a best friend that is exactly that. She, oh my God, she screams projector, but she somehow is a generator. I was like, baby girl, you ain't no generator. Um, so this makes perfect sense. That makes me feel better. How though? How any that's really weird. How does that add up? So you guys, you're learning with me right now. I don't understand. The, those are the I don't understand. This is so weird. Okay, whatever. I don't want to waste any more time being confused on a live stream because I'm going to figure that out later. Okay, going back to original programming here. So, the third and final channel that Robert Pattinson has is the channel 3955 emoting. Sir, let's see here. 3955 emoting, 3939. I mean, obviously that's, emotions. All the world's a stage, it says, is how the melancholic Jaques begins Shakespeare's play As You Like It before going on to say, sighing like a furnace with a woeful ballad, it is a monologue illustrating the different stages of life from infancy to old age with all the associated emotions. So once again, he's an emotional authority, so that makes sense. Uh Shakespeare could have written 3555 channel in mind. Your life can sometimes feel like a great tragedy or a great joy, and all the roles are delivered with passion. So dramatic are your mood swings that you can sometimes struggle to get a handle on matters. You can tell that he's a very emotional being. You can tell. You can see it in his face. You can see it in his face. You can tell that he, like, I mean, my gosh, the fact that he got the role of Batman and he portrayed it in that characteristic of that portrayal of Batman makes so much sense that he did so well with that role. I feel like that role for him, I can't recall if he's ever said anything like this. Be interested to look into it, but I can guarantee you that he felt like that he is playing himself. Like there's a lot of elements of himself in the role of that particular version of Batman. I loved that version of Batman because here's the thing. The shit that Batman has gone through is there should be an immense dynamic to a character of that traumatic degree. I mean, my gosh, of course, you do have the vigilante side, which is, whatever he's like duality of him being, Bruce Wayne and then him being Batman, right? But I don't think I really don't think any actor. I think Robert Pattinson was 100% the best Batman that we've ever seen. Christian, uh, what is that? His last name? Why do I want to say Christian Slater? Christian, whatever his last name is. Why am I forgetting that? What is it? Bale. It's Bale. Oh my gosh, Christian Bale. First of all, raging anger. But that's neither here nor there. He has the essence of like anything that he portrays is always this really weird undertone of like I'm gonna kill you. But that's besides the point. But with his portrayal of Batman, it's very masked. It's all masked. You don't ever see Christian Bale have really emotional. He's like a stone, a rock that nobody can push past. He's this I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire Bruce Wayne, but I also kill people on the side that need to be killed. That's the essence of Christian Bale in general, but that's how he portrayed Batman too, which I wasn't necessarily a fan of. And then of course, you've got George Clooney, which that's comical. Because George Clooney is he's like a puppy dog. He's like a golden retriever to me. At least at that point in his career, he was. He was very jolly and joyous and jovial and just like lighthearted. So he brought that aspect to Batman, which I don't think Batman is that at all. And he also had, I mean, of course, that was Tim Burton, right? Yeah, Tim Burton. So that makes sense for a Tim Burton version of Batman because he brings a little bit more of like a theatrical, not so dark. I mean, he is dark. He definitely has dark elements to all of his work, but he with his Batman movies specifically, there is always some I don't know how to explain it. Comedic relief, you know what I'm saying? Comedic relief, kind of an air of like, not superficialism, but, quirkiness, that's the best way to describe it. It's like quirky. His movies are always quirky, so there's that element, and so when you bring somebody like George Clooney in as a Batman, that makes sense 'cause he is a quirky person, there's just something I don't know, at that point of George's career, um, he was like the golden retriever of the A-list actors. I don't know, it's just sort of like, I don't know. Um, but anyway, going back to the point of Robert Pattinson and his portrayal of Batman, it makes sense with this particular channel because he's an emotional person. He's a very complex person. He has a lot of layers to him, and you can tell when he is going out about in the wild and doing interviews and stuff like that. You can tell that there's a lot of complexity behind it all, and that's why I felt like the projector, like the projector energy is really coming through because he just I don't know how to explain it. It's just a sense that I get. It says you are acoustically attuned or tuned. So sorry. I'm reading the channel again, if anybody's wondering. So 3559 is a channel of emoting. Another aspect is you are acoustically tuned, so soothing music will be your greatest diversion and solace, something to hang on to. When you're down in the dumps, no one will help you feel better, regardless of their best efforts. I could see that. I could see him being like that. Like, if he's upset, just let him be upset. This can be distressing for partners who may struggle to understand. I would never do well with that. I am a person that like, I'm sorry, let me help you feel better. Oh, I can't help you feel better. Okay, then what am I doing here? No, I'm just kidding. But I try my best to like help loved ones feel better, and I feel terrible if I can't help them feel better. Um, that's why I tell people with this channel to find a space all their own, to find a space all their own, to which they can withdraw. That is exactly the energy that I get from Robert Pattinson, that he likes to just kind of be alone. And not in a like emo way, but he Batman was a very emo version of a Batman. But literally I feel like there's a lot of aspects of his portrayal of Batman that are very much himself. These are the seasons. Oh, sorry. Your mood will shift when it is good and ready. These are the lessons of your emotions you must learn to accept. So it's cool to see the fact that Batman has been the biggest movie that he's done since Twilight. And think about what he was doing in Twilight. I don't care what you thought of the series, his portrayal of Edward was very emotional. He was a very emotional character. And so Robert Pattinson acting into that and playing into a part of his chart as a character acting, and he had that much success with that series. And then fast forward to his portrayal of Batman, which is once again him tuning into this like channel of emoting, this channel of emotions and being that. I mean, my gosh, the whole series of Twilight is him trying to be like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just he's emotional. You know what I'm saying? And then in Batman, it was very much the same, and the self isolation aspect of it all, and him, especially in Batman, where he's just like like a recluse. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised if that is very much how Robert is. Like, he needs a lot of his alone time, because he feels a lot of emotions, and he needs the space to just feel it all and not have anybody else be affected by that. So that's really interesting. That's really interesting. Once again, I said that for like the 50 millionth time. That's interesting. Okay. Next up and last, his incarnation cross is the right angle cross of explanation 2. So let's see this. To gain and share your understanding of life and how things all piece and fit together. I think that's essentially the same thing that we just uncovered with Ryan, which is funny. This is so interesting that they have the same incarnation cross. It's just they're 2 degrees away from each other. We all assume that everyone is built the same way as us. Did I not say that earlier? Yo. It's like I'm psychic or something. I said that earlier. I said we do these things where we assume that I have, like I have these traits, right? But I assume because it's the only thing I know that everybody else has those traits as well, right? So the only time that we can understand that those are gifts of ours, those are genius zones, is if somebody reflects it back to us, is saying and says to us, not everybody is like that, right? Not everybody has these channels. Not everybody has these channels. Therefore, these superpowers or these genius zones are very specific to you. And then you can take all the other like aspects and, like know how to utilize them the best way. And so, So yeah, and I was saying that, I forget why I mentioned that, but I mentioned it in this particular reading, so that's funny. Okay. But this stops us from seeing that the things we do easily are unique and valuable to others. Okay. You are specially equipped to share your genius insights because you have the patience and interest to revisit things in your mind many times, which is what gives you the clarity and insight that most don't obtain. So remember what I was saying about how he needs to like when he's not living his human design is um when he would essentially like be reactive and allow his emotions to get the best of him and say and call somebody out in a really negative way and be mean. Um, so his experience from Twilight, he probably learned a lot during that time. And what he did was to avoid that, to understand his energy around it all, is he took himself out of that equation. He started doing independent films and not these, um, raging like girl fans screaming at the top of their lungs about Twilight. And he can never get away from the fact that he's Edward. He doesn't like that. Um, and then he comes back and he does freaking Batman, right? So he clearly has done a lot of inner work. Now he understands how to bring things to the table and sit with it in his mind before he says things. So he is this is I think that he has come very full circle in his career and understand that, whether he's aware of that or not. I think that something like that can come through therapy. For some reason, Robert Pattinson doesn't necessarily strike me as the type of person that's into astrology. With Ryan Gosling, 100 fucking percent. He has had he's probably had every chart in his like that's existent read for him, because Ryan Gosling 100% strikes me as the type of person that loves fame. I think that he has a really great way of disguising that with his charm, but he definitely, at least more recently, maybe not as much, but he definitely likes being famous. Um, Even though he likes to live a private life, which sounds counteractive. It kind of sounds like a little bit of like, how does that make sense? But it's more of a success driven thing rather than I want screaming people just like at my door at all times with paparazzi. They don't like, I don't think Ryan Gosling likes that aspect. He doesn't share personal information. He doesn't share his personal side, his personal person. He's very consistent with his personality in almost all of his interviews. But more recently, Ryan Gosling has 100% toned that down, which is why I think that he is coming to a place in his life where he does want to like tone it down, and he is allowing that true self to come forward, where he is a little bit more not so charismatic. You know what I mean? Like I think that I don't know, I think that he's created that persona in a very strategic way. So fame to him is very strategized. I think that he chose that very strategically, whereas Robert Pattinson, um I think he may have thought that he wanted it. He liked the idea of it, but then once he realized what came with it, none of that like actually works with his energy. Being mega famous doesn't really work with his energy. As a projector, it's really hard for projectors to have that. I mean, my gosh, that much energy being put onto you. So I feel like projectors tend to Ariana Grande, I guess, is a projector, which I would have thought that she was a generator. But anyways, going back to Robert Pattinson, um, him having what was I saying? I got lost in thought. Let me just read the rest of this little excerpt. You are specially equipped to share your genius, blah blah blah. I already read that. Um, it keeps refining the way you see things and the way you communicate them with others. So that makes sense. I mean, you can see it. You can see that he's refining. We're all refining. That's a given for anybody, not specific people. The key to maximizing this gift is to share with the purest intentions, which for you is the intention to bring about revolution and evolution in the world and who we are as a human race. Um, So yeah, I feel like Robert Pattinson has a lot of patience. And so when he or anybody that has that incarnation cross or a lot of the elements that go in with his chart, um, when he becomes impatient, that is when he's living out of alignment. As long as he is being patient, as long as he can sit and be patient with whoever he is interacting with, that's great because he does well with it. But when people ruffle his feathers a little too much, that's when things can go a little awry. So that's why I think with Twilight, I think he got so much flack for the misunderstanding of the character he was portraying that that didn't work well with him. He probably that makes a lot of sense that like he had an immense amount of success, which partially he was tuning into his chart, which is the gift of emoting and you know uh, portraying very emotional characters, which Edward is a very emotional character. And it looks like he's like not emotional. Some people might be like, "Oh, he that's why he did so bad is because he like didn't have emotion." But the thing is what I can almost guarantee is that he was directed to try to conceal his emotions at all costs. That's what Edward I mean, that's what Edward Cullen was all about. He couldn't let Bella know that he was a vampire. How on earth? I mean, and he's attracted to her, and he doesn't want. It's a huge inner battle that Edward Cullen is supposed to be experiencing. And I think that Robert Pattinson did a great job. And if you didn't read the books, you wouldn't know that. He did a really great job. He was doing exactly what he was directed to do, which is be the character that's suppressing emotions at all costs. That's hard. That's a hard task. Is it sometimes campy? 100%. Don't get me wrong. But my point here is that he was very much demolished with a ton of hate about his character, his acting abilities with those movies, and then he like completely stepped aside. I think that overwhelmed him, and I think at that point of his life he didn't know it was overwhelming emotionally for him, and he didn't know how to handle, which is why he doesn't like to talk about it. um and him tuning into that 23 gate sun gate, when he is asked questions that he doesn't want to talk about, he now knows how to really like understand. He has a gift of like shifting gears, like, oh yeah, no, I hear that question but I don't want to answer it, so like what's your next question? You know what I mean? Instead of like getting upset about it. So that is Robert Pattinson. There's one more person that I want to look into. I'm not going to do the full thing. I just want to look at Ronald, no, sorry, not Ronald, Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Okay, so I'm going to make some guesses here. I know for a fact that he has the channel of money. I've already seen that. But I have a feeling that he has the power channel. And he's 100% an emotional authority. Those are my guesses. As far as his I think he's a manifester. I'm pretty sure he's a manifester. If anything, I thought he's going to be a generator just because he does so many freaking things. But he does a lot of things and he has other people do them. So that he's actually Donald Trump 150 million% has had his chart read. I have no doubt about that. The people that have the most success, they understand that this type of stuff exists and you can 100% utilize. Like a lot of people are really scared of this work. A lot of people are really they there's a lot of fear around like astrology charts and human design charts, and people are like, "Oh, it's so fake." It's like, how are you going to say it's fake when all of these things add up? It's all freaking math. It's just math. We are all energy, and all energy is mathematical equations. Something like human design is a literal mathematical equation of who you are and what you represent and how energetically you are received or not received. I don't even get me started. Me and Matt Rife would have I could oh my god, I would Matt Rife, there was a special he did, and he was starting to talk about like crystals and stuff, which that I understand. I understand people being weird about crystals because you can go in the pool of like putting a little too much interpretation on different things, and it can really cross the line of like superstition. Although I do believe that different crystals, no, I don't care who the fuck you are, you cannot argue any way, shape, or form that crystals don't have energetic properties. Okay, we literally have quartz crystals in watches. There's quartz crystals in your phones. Quartz, clear quartz is a literal conductor. Copper is a conductor. So you can't tell me that, like, nobody could ever tell me that crystals don't have energetic properties. And some people interpret those energetic properties or energetic qualities into different things that, we can, steer into our lives, our lifestyles. I don't think anything's wrong with that, but I understand why some people can't get behind it. I get it. But human design, no, nobody. Anyway, so the reason why I was saying all that is because I know for a fact Donald Trump has had his human design read, especially for the fact that human design has just recently, in the last like 5 years, gotten popular. Astrology, everybody knows what astrology is. Everybody knows what their sign is. Very few people know like what their profile is. And when I say profile, I'm saying your human design profile. Are you a 4-1? Are you a 2-4? Are you a 3-5? Not very many people know that, like off the top of their head, because nobody was talking about it. Human design also hasn't been around nearly as long, so take that in consideration. But it's still very new, and I think that when it really started, I think the people that could afford readings were the ones getting them, aka the highly successful people of today. Okay, stopping on that tangent. So he's a manifesting generator. I've been telling everybody that Donald Trump is a manifester. Oopsies. So he's a manifesting generator, which makes complete sense. That makes complete sense. So manifesting generator, he is just go, 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 a ton of energy. And he's like in a million places at once. Generators have a lot of energy, just strict generators have a lot of energy and can get shit done in a very systematic way. They tend to be very organized. Manifesting generators, not so much, unless you have more of a generator, more generator aspects than manifestor aspects of your chart. He's a profile 1-3. I could see that. Yep. An incarnation cross, right angle cross of Eden 2. Okay. He's born one day after Tony. Oh my gosh. Okay, so his channels of acceptance, channel at the money line, mating, and transitoriness. Transitoriness. What word is that? I have never heard of that word before. Transitoriness. Acceptance. That's hilarious. So the channel mating, that's a pretty self-explanatory. Anybody that has my boyfriend actually has this this channel, which is the channel of like seduction, lust, and things like that. Now, I'm gonna say this right now. Am I attracted to the guy? Absolutely not. I can literally count at least 10 people that would agree with me right here, right now. And that list goes on and it continues to go on when I just think about more people. But there's plenty of people on the other end of that do find him to be very attractive. But so there's an essence to him that is very sexualized, and yeah, so that makes sense. Transitoriness, I don't know that. Acceptance, I do want to look into this. Let's see, 1722. $1762, not 1722. 1762. Oh, okay. So that's weird. So this book calls this channel the channel of the organizer, which that actually makes sense. Um, acceptance. Why do they call it acceptance? That sounds like two completely different things. You are an organizer and strategist who expresses logic, someone who absorbs all the facts, details, and politics of a situation and then threads them all together to form your own concrete opinion or recommendation. You will be so well informed that few will doubt the convincing arguments you put forward. Well, I don't know about that, but um, this is funny. Listen to this. Of course, this mindset means that you can be highly opinionated. Wait a second. Let me read the sentence before this. So futuristic thinks fu sorry, I can't speak. I'm getting tired. Futuristic think tanks, managerial positions, and any campaign would benefit from your methodical mind, which is forever looking into the future to find solutions for systems, projects, and people, which regardless of what your thoughts are on this guy, I mean that's true. I do not like the guy for you know, just to put that out there. The activation with the throat emerges as an expression that may sound something like, I think this should happen, or I think we should do this. Um, okay. Of course, this mindset means you can be highly opinionated and adopt a forceful debating style. Forceful debating style. That's hilarious. Um, this is so funny. The activation between the mind and the throat begins an urgency to speak your mind. Oh my. To be wary of expressing untimely and unwanted opinions. If you're not selective in this regard, what you have to say may as well lose its impact. Okay, so here's okay, like I said, just for the record, I do not like Trump. But this is great example to showcase to you guys that your human design is 100% the accuracy of these things is just like so cool. So think of Trump, right? He is literally super opinionated. He is highly debatable. Not debatable, but he like debates a lot with like fierceness behind it. And he's forceful in his debating style. Um, he always has urgency when he speaks. And interestingly enough, it says with advice, be wary of expressing untimely and unwanted opinions, which is half the shit he says. If you're not selective in this regard, what you have to say may as well lose its impact. And here's the thing, something that I will say about Trump is that I do think that he understands the fact that the world is his stage. I think he plays on that so much. And so I do think that he is playing a character. I don't think that he is exactly that way. I've met people that have worked with him and they have said that he basically is that. And that he's not the best person to work with. But I do think my point with it is though I know for a fact that he is very intentional with how he's presenting himself. I think he's intentionally looking and like a crazy like a lunatic. I think that's intentional. I do think that I think he well, I don't want to say that, but I think it's completely intentional. I think that is very much calculated in his process to be radical. And I think that he's utilizing that to his benefit to rile people up. And it's interesting to see this connect in his chart because it's almost like he's very much aware that if he says highly opinionated things in an untimely manner, that he can, lose the impact. Um, and he has. He definitely has. Uh, with this being said, it's kind of like if he were to, utilize this aspect in a more positive light rather than strictly to ruffle feathers, I think that he would be better received. He's definitely banking on the radical experience, um, that and I think he thrives on drama. I think he thrives on chaos. And so, I mean, honestly, it's kind of like the Joker, uh, but yeah, does that make sense? So that let me just see something. Um, okay, so the money line is very self-explanatory. Anybody that has the money line in their chart, Johnny Depp has the money line in his chart. I mean, Johnny Depp, mega famous. I mean, he supposedly doesn't have money anymore because he spent it all on like the whole Amber Heard thing and other things that he didn't necessarily have a budget for. But think about Trump. I think Trump is also in that same boat. Everybody knows that he is, I mean, he's the most famous person in the world. And he is known, Trump specifically is known for money and making money, and he has made an empire out of making money. So I'd be interested to see what his sun gate is, what it represents. Number 12. I don't know what that one is, but it's not the grace. Okay, so I'm just like, I know I have 12 in mine, but I don't think I'm getting it mixed up with a different gate. But anyway, I mean, he is 100% leaned into that channel, both him and Johnny Depp, an excessive amount of money that they've made. So if you have the money line in your channels, please understand that means that you are 1000% capable of making a shit ton of money. Most likely, you have a very deep innate desire to make a lot of money, and don't suppress that because you are here to make money. It's just, it's just a matter of what you do with it. Okay, so the transitoriness, whatever the fuck that means, 35, 36. Yeah, 35, 36. My eyesight's starting to get really bad. I'm getting old. 35, 35, 36. The channel of versatility is what this one is, this channel calls it. Get ready to experience everything is the first sentence. You have an insatiable thirst for life's experiences and are probably walking around in a t-shirt that declares been there, done that 100%. Are you kidding? I feel like I can literally been there, done that. There is something transient and short-lived about all that you do because an urgency to live life to the fullest leaves you in a constant search for stimulation. That makes perfect sense. I mean, he needs to be stimulated at all times. Supposedly he doesn't drink or do drugs. I don't know if I believe that or not. I know that in his childhood, I think his dad was like a raging alcoholic, and I think he like vowed to himself to not ever get into drinking. Um, but who knows how true that is. It's so hard with celebrities to know exactly like what their lifestyle behind closed doors is. So there's that. But I mean, I think that he's probably I'm pretty sure he's probably addicted to sex at least. He's definitely addicted to money. His addiction comes with like sex and money. I don't know. He doesn't strike me as the type of person that has addictions to like drugs or anything. Okay, so it's an insatiability that covers all areas, living locations, relationships, jobs, travel, and sex. It's so funny how I keep saying all these things before reading them, and all of a sudden I just read the next part of what I just said. Okay, so you may well be described as a jack of all trades, master of none, because this quest for fresh experiences turns into a very versatile and highly charged being. You are a passionate individual with something of the thrill seeker about you as you challenge your own beliefs about being able to or allowed to do something. In this respect, you are often torn between being driven and feeling trepidation. The value and importance of an experience won't be considered until you've thrown yourself into it and emerged out the other side to consider what it all meant. Am I making this up? Did I see that he went like skydiving? Has he gone skydiving? I mean, he's old, so maybe not. But yeah, I don't know. That makes sense. I would say he's a versatile guy. Mating, that's self-explanatory. I don't need to once again, he has another sex channel, a channel that's connected to sex. So he's 100% addicted to money, he's 100% addicted to sex and also stimulation. But I he might be addicted to like stimulant drugs or something like that, like pharmaceuticals. But if we're talking, street drugs or alcoholism, I don't think he has that. And I do genuinely feel that way. Let's look at his gate 12. I did not mean for this to go on for as long as it did. Let's see. Where is gate 12? Gate 12. Where are you, gate 12? Where is it? Hold on. There it is. Okay, it's in the throat. My mouse was literally on it. How embarrassing. Okay. The gate of standstill. That's the one. Okay, so the gate of standstill is, I actually have this in my chart. I was trying to remember where it was in my chart. And I couldn't remember what the gate was. This is like, in other words, the gate of the mountain. Basically, like nothing can move you. Stubbornness. Oh, and that's his sun sign. Holy shit. His sun sign is gate 12. The fucking mountain. The stubborn bull. The immovable standstill. That's hilarious. Let's see. I'm just trying to like sort out the stuff that is not worth sharing, not worth reading. I mean, um, okay. There's a strong but cautious tone when you speak, which is not true for him, and this can frustrate people. There's a strong, but he's not cautious what he says. This can frustrate some people. That's because from your place of standstill in a world that's running around in circles, you get a sense of what is coming, making you wary about things that might appear unproblematic to everyone else. Conversely, it can make you chase things that go beyond the bounds of ordinary imagination. From standstill comes the potential to make great leaps in the expansion of the human endeavor. Uh, and the equal potential to dither and procrastinate because your vision can extend farther than you sense you can jump. You know, though, that when you do speak, what you can say can move people and inject confidence in them because they know you've exercised caution and discrimination before saying your piece. Let me look at this one because gate 12, I have this gate and I feel like I might. Hold on. Okay. Gates. Gate 12. The gate of caution. So I was reading that. I was reading that wrong. It's the gate of caution. Gate of standstill. Gate of caution. Huh. So the gate of caution is completely different than what I thought the gate of standstill was. So I apologize for that. Um, what is the gate of like the mountain? Is it 20? No, it's not 22. Oh, I think it's the gate 11. No, that's the gate of ideas. What the hell? 22. That's the gate of openness, of grace. Well, this is the one thing that, like, I wish was not a factor, is that everybody ends up rewording the gate themes, and to me, the gate so this one calls gate 12 the gate of, standstill. This says that it's the gate of caution. Those 2 words do not, to me, mean the same thing whatsoever. So that's kind of annoying and slightly embarrassing, but that's fine. I'm learning. So the gate of caution. This is interesting that this is in his sun gate. To me, the gate of standstill, which I have always interpreted that gate as like the mountain. It's like a mountain gate. Like nothing can move you. You're at a standstill, and that's what you're here to do. Is like, that's how your energy is, which makes sense for him. That means like it's like, think about like stubbornness, right? But the gate of caution has nothing to do with that. The gate of caution is the people that are really careful about everything that they do. They're cautious about everything they do. That is what I personally struggle with a lot in my life. I'm always being like, oh, but I don't want to do that because I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get in trouble. He is erratic. Like he doesn't care to get in trouble because he knows he can get out of it. Like, so to me, he's not a cautious person whatsoever. He is erratic, he is chaotic. So what on earth? This is weird. This is actually going to bug me. Um, I don't like that. Let's go to my design. And okay, so and then this one, it says gift 12 is called the gift of voice, which that makes sense. The gift of voice. Gosh, this is annoying. These are all completely different interpretations of this. These are all different. Usually, just to put this out there, usually the gates from one interpretation to the other very much go hand in hand, and they like it all adds up. But this gate, these are all 3 completely different definitions of gate 12. This is the gate 12. The way you speak makes people pay attention, which 100% it does. I don't care who you are, whether you like the guy or not. You can't help but not listen to what he's saying, whether you want to look at how much of a moron he looks like, or if you really are a follower of him and you believe everything that he's saying. He has an air about him that you can't not pay attention to. It's like you're either watching him because of the train wreck that he is, or oh, I just noticed something. Or you're watching him because you're enthralled with him and you really are behind everything that he says. And he has a way of entrancing people, which is that's a whole other conversation that I'm not really willing to have publicly. But he definitely has a very he grabs your attention. This gift is not always about having something to say. It's just that the way you phrase things is a bit more dynamic and unusual. 100% true. Whether yours is deep, gloomy, or super enthusiastic is a little bit idiosyncratic. Idiosyncratic. You have this amplifying and dramatic voice that helps you get messages across because it's packaged by you naturally in a way that is going to land in people. 100%. 100%. Making the most of this gift is about letting your voice do its own thing rather than taking, consciously or unconsciously, the way that everyone else is talking these days. We pick up cadence and intonation based on what's cool and in, but if you do that, your gift melts into the crowd. Oh, okay, okay. When it's meant to stand out. Uh, so ask yourself, okay, okay, okay. See, that is okay. I like this interpretation way better than the other 2 that I just read, because for him in particular, this makes absolute sense. Think about that. Like one, remember I was saying how he puts on a persona. Um, he's really feeding into the fact that he's created this voice. It's a very unique voice. Um, he is a character. And so for him to really lean into that voice, his unique voice, and not play into what is like what the cool kids are doing, I guess you could say. I mean, he's erratic, and he has some really interesting concepts and ideas, and if you really pay attention, I don't pay attention to politics, I've just seen all the clips. I mean, my gosh, there's so many memes of him, um, but a lot of things that he says, the more outlandish and crazy it is, pay attention. He actually gets louder when he's talking about those things. And so there's a duality of what's happening with that, where people are receiving him and his magnetism. I don't care what you think about him. I'm like I said, I don't like the guy, but on an energetic scale, we are all reacting to his energy. We are reacting to him tuning into or not tuning into his human design, which I feel like for the most part he does tune into it. Um, when he is saying things that are completely left field, not the typical thing that, I mean, my gosh, if we're talking about presidents here, he is the least classy president we've ever seen. He is not by the book. He is so, I mean, my gosh, okay, don't even get me started. But the interesting thing is that all of the people that absolutely love him are like, yes. But then all the people that absolutely despise him are like, what is happening? And they can't not look at him. Regardless if you like him or not, specifically, the statement I'm going to say is for the people, those of us that don't like him. No matter what, at the end of the day, he is tuning into that and he's amplifying his energy and he is being magnetic and he is drawing you in, whether you realize it or not. It has nothing to do with if you like him or if you're going to vote for him or anything. His magnetism is 100% amplified. The more crazy things he says, the more attention he gets, good or bad. And he understands that concept, I think, more than anybody. So there's that. But funny story though. I think, yeah, 12, 11. That I actually have that on my unconscious side. That like those two numbers. My design chart. No. Oh God, I hate. Oh my God. I wish that there was just one app that had all the elements of a chart that I like to look at. The descriptions, like, I don't know if you can see this or not, but uh, this is like my chart and it has the numbers on the side. The chart I was just looking at doesn't include the numbers on the side. Oh, God, it's so annoying. Yeah, 12. Oh, God. 12, 1, and 11, 1, I have in the same positions, just on the other side. Interesting. Um, interesting. Because the funny thing is that this I don't go into this in my readings ever, but I know this for my personal human design endeavors, for my personal chart. This gate in the Earth gate is when you uncover this first, that's what amplifies this. I never go into it because it complicates things immensely. But if you have blocks, a lot of the times the block tends to come from your Earth gate, which the Earth gate is the gate of grace. So he doesn't have grace whatsoever, although he has an immense amount of success. So it wouldn't surprise me if, like, behind closed doors, he actually does, like, before all of this chaos has happened, I think he's really playing into it. And I think that before he went into all this, I think that he actually had a lot of grace. Not that he's a kind person, um, but yeah, there was somebody that I met who worked with him as his makeup artist for a little while, and she said that he's a complete, like, back then, this was before he ever even talked or like was getting ready to run for president. Uh, he always voted Democrat. You look at the history behind it all, he always was hanging out with, like, Bill Clinton and stuff. So, he always voted Democrat is what this artist told me. And so she said she found it really weird that he, ran for Republic side. But But so my point though is that he's just not the I don't wanna say what I wanna, like, I don't wanna get myself in trouble here. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I think before all this, he wasn't as crazy as he is now. I think he's gone crazy. I think he's legit gone crazy. Um, old and decrepit, if you will. Uh, and also, there's a whole pattern that you can see with anybody that hits a certain amount of power and success, and when you tend to not have it's kinda like if you it's like it's a void, right? Addiction, the whole concept in psychology of an addiction is to fill a void, and so if you're not filling a void by, really, toxic things that are, like, toxic to your health, such as alcoholism or drugs, there's always another way to fill that void, and so until you fill that void, people do the craziest things, and I do know that Trump had, like, a really not so great upbringing. I think that his dad was really ignorant. I don't think his dad paid attention to any of them, and I think specifically Donald, like, I think he did not like him. I think he purposefully was mean to him, and so if you look at any celebrity that has had, a lot of issues, whether that is with substance abuse or, this constant need for, um power and or constant need for an immense amount of fame or an immense amount of money. When you get somebody that has that like headstrong of ambition to hit that point, a lot of the times it can be connected to a major void that they're trying to fill. And so if Trump really is not an alcoholic and he really doesn't have drug addictions or anything like that, it would make complete sense to me that his uh, what is that word? His choice of, oh my gosh, what's that word? His vice is power. And so when you want power like that, you do things that are so immoral and so, I mean, just kind of evil. You have to use people to get to that amount of power. You have to do things that most people would not do to obtain that amount of wealth. And he has both of those, wealth and power. And I think when he was filling the void with all of his wealth, I think he, he hit that point where he didn't fill the void with the wealth, and then he was like, "I want the power." And when somebody wants power like that, it's just kinda like everything goes their sanity doesn't doesn't it's not there anymore. Um, what was I looking up? I don't remember what I was looking up. Was it 11? Was I looking at gate 11? Gate 11. I think I was looking up gate 11. Ideas. That is the gate of ideas. Once again, I have the same gate. Um, that is so stinking weird. I feel like so how everybody's talking about the, Mandela effect? I feel like that I'm being punked right now by the universe because granted, I have read in like so many different types of human design resources, and they all have different definitions of the different gates and everything like that. But I swear that gate 12 at some point was the gate of the mountain, the instability, which has nothing to do with like your voice. This right here, the noticeable voice, gate 12, the way you speak makes people pay attention. What that has nothing to do with being immovable. That actually makes me mad. And then gate 11, the ideas person. Where is the gate of grace? Oh, it's 22. That's why. That's why. Okay. Okay, I'm feeling better now because okay. Either way, gate 12 is still fucking me up. But gate 11 is the gate of ideas. So he's an ideas person. I mean, I'm an ideas person as well. Um, and it's in the one, so it's individual. It's the investigator. It's the like we're constantly learning. So that's interesting. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna get off of here because I've been on for 4 hours. Yikes. Okay, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.